Who exactly are the best 5 teams in the world right now? We're going to tell you, and we're always right. We've never been wrong one time, not one single time. And certainly the matches next week won't prove us to be complete
Terribly
fools.
wrong, yeah.
Because also, if we had done this last week, there would have been an MIBR in there, and we'll get to them later on, but oh boy, we would have been wrong. But first of all, we've got some hot takes. We're going to get to the ranking in just a moment, but we got to hit you with some hot takes to open up here. Are you ready for mine? Are you ready for mine?
I'm ready.
And this one is straight to you, Shyo. Veto is abominable, and teams should stop playing him. Because I am seeing way too much Veto from, spoiler, not the top 5 best teams in the world. Teams that are trying to be there. I don't know. I'm seeing him on maps where he's getting literally 0 value, man. Like, he's ass. He's just ass.
There was a thing with Mata where like he came to the team and he was like, listen, I've been playing Harbor in ranked. I want to play Harbor. Put me on Harbor. And then we saw how it went and it was kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Then you go over to Veto, which I feel like is a coach or an assistant coach of the assistant coach has cooked up something with Veto in like a gold ranked game or something, you know, Ascendant, not to roast the coaches. Then he comes up the pipeline and the coach is like, we're down 0-2. Put said guy on Veto. Let's see what happens. Put Extra on Veto, guys. I have the strat book lined up for him, and Extra's in there like, what the fuck is this ability? I have to look at the TP mid match. Like his first TP is used on round 5 of Veto. Like, dude, the agent is something that needs passion. You can't just keep putting pros on it, and I feel like that's what's happening 24/7. So I agree with you. Keep him off Veto.
I know. Even the people that have got decent Veto setups, like I saw somebody running a Veto setup on Fracture where they're like hiding underneath B Heaven and they're looking towards their teleporter already, which is like most of the good Veto setups. I think you want to be doing that where you've actually got your TP in line of sight. They just stick around for too long, die, interceptor gets no value, nothing. I mean, it's just
slow.
Yeah. Mike's HD was in my chat while I was watching it, and he was like, every time I see this, it's just agent with a gun. That's it. You're just playing. It's a fake agent at the moment, man. It's crazy.
But then the thing is, then like you have like who was it who had like the 4K evolution in Fracture Tower retake 1v4.
Yeah.
Like the ult is so good that like that's the allure. Like you sit there for 6 rounds and do shit. 1 round, your fucking stocks go up like your Khalil in 2024. You play that last game to keep yourself on FURIA for an extra year, and then like you feel like you've done something on the agent, but it's a curse. Stop.
Okay.
Get away from it.
All right. So you agree with my hot take? Maybe it's not that hot.
I do.
All right.
I do.
Fair enough. Anyone else got some cold takes to give at the beginning of the episode?
You want my cold take? My very cold take is that and this, to be honest, has hit me because I used to think that the group stages, I'm a guy who likes permutations. I'm that kind of guy. I'm the guy who likes, if this team wins and this team loses by 2 maps and, they need to win by 15 rounds. I love the little abacus, sliding across the rounds. I put it on my stream sometimes when, that's happened before. Like, they need 7 rounds. Let's count them down. They need 7 rounds to qualify. Yeah. Whatever it is. But I've had it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of group stages. I'm sick of it. I just, the fact that I'm like, we're in week 4/3 coming to the end of it. We're about to get to week 5. Like, I'm just done. I feel like I know which teams I don't need to watch. I mean, there are some games specific this week that I will not watch.
They are literally useless.
I don't care. They do not matter at all.
On principle.
On principle, yeah. But then the fact that I'm thinking about, like, we got to do this again? We got to do a whole group stage like later in the year.
Not for a while, but
Not for a while, but the fact that like there's another like 5-week period of my life that I'm gonna have to sit here and be like, like today we're gonna talk about, is it over for these teams? It's over for these teams because they're not very good, and I've seen them play 3 or 4 times, and I know that they're not very good. Like, they might squeak into playoffs in 4th. That's another thing about this, right? Like, the way it's laid out makes sense, right? The first seed gets a bye, the 4th place team starts in lowers. It makes sense that it puts some jeopardy. Like, for instance, Pacific is just seeding right now, but seeding does actually matter. It does increase or decrease your chances quite a lot. But those 4th place teams, unless you're Paper Rex, don't do diddly dick. So should I care? It's like one of those things like, I really care, guys, but should I? Those 4th place teams aren't doing anything anyway. They're not going to London, so why should I care?
What bothers me about, and also, this is a cold take because literally VCT is changing next year to avoid these things.
The hot take is VCT did something good.
But what annoys me is we're about to go and rank these teams, right? And talk about who the best teams in the world are. For some of them, there's not many, because you were right. Like, for most teams, we actually do know. But for some of them, they have just been getting free wins against bad teams to the point where you're not even 100% sure, like, how good they actually are, just because sometimes the groups end up being lopsided. That also bothers me about this kind of, group stage shenanigan type of stuff. Just let me see the good teams playing against each other more, man.
But the idea is the bad teams get better in the process. But here's my issue with that too, right? I'm with you. I'm with that emotion, the emoticon right there. Is you'll see some of these interviews, and I've seen them a couple of times on stage now. Say a bad team loses out their second week, and the interview process, what do you guys do from here? Well, it's a day off tomorrow. Then the boys get back on Wednesday for some strats. Then we'll have some scrims on Thursday. And our match is back on Saturday again. Guys, your day off was today. You didn't show up to the game. And now you're getting another day off to go in the city, right? And then you have another day where you're half-assing it. And then you have 2 days. What are you doing? You're not even using the... Honestly, make the week shorter. Make instead of 5 weeks, do the China system. 2 super weeks of games. No days off for these guys who were gliding by, doing God knows what, bro. Hey, there's people going fucking -20 in these maps, not these games, these maps, and you're getting a day off the next day. Hey, what? It's insane.
Give me your hot take, Shyo. Unless that was your hot take that we should work them like dogs.
My take is scorching hot because it's the opposite of what I just fucking said, which is every team can get better, guys. Like,
no.
Every team's a pro team. I had some flack in the comment section last week.
Shyo. They're not working hard enough. They're not getting better.
I'm fighting myself, which is like, I guess it's so frustrating to listen to my takes. I understand why they're just back and forth. But, dude, I'm saying things like, Secret may have a chance. G2, their biggest threat, C9. And some guys like, in the comments, everybody track Shyo's takes week after week, giving the most dog shit takes I've seen in my life. C9? Did you watch the Might Be Our Game?
Well, yeah.
Did you watch Secret take a map of a Nongshim? Like, my whole point is, in Preds, in analysis, these things are still possible. These are 12 pro teams playing in this circuit. There's teams behind them that could just be there. Job Life, Enterprise. You've got YFP, Division 1. Like, there's a bunch of tier 2 teams who could be there as well. We're playing just as well. But all these teams can level up. We should be positive about the way they have that potential. It's not just always about running them off. You comment sectioner guy, what are you doing when you wake up? Do you just see the 2 teams, say one of them's loud, the other one's G2, and decide to go back to sleep? There's a tier gap, I'm not going to watch a game. Do you only watch 2 games a split of 2 close teams, bro? It's a VCT game. People can get better, even though they're taking 3 days off a week. 4 days off a week.
By that logic as well, they're going to be stuck watching that Pacific day of the teams that haven't made playoffs because they're close games. So they have to watch the worst day of VCT.
I'm just saying, when people give analysis, man, every team can get better. Look at the bright green grass side of things. Yeah.
I mean, I like this take, though, because it's reminding me of Poppin's absolute crash out that just happened on the VLR forums, where he's talking, about, like, you haven't seen this? Oh my God! Okay. We're saving it for Max Drama. We've got Max Drama at the end of the show. I didn't realize that you weren't aware of this. I'll lay it out for you, dude. It's juice. It's great. It's phenomenal. I can't believe you didn't see it yesterday. All right, that's fine though. That's fine. I'll save that portion. Let's go into the ranks. Let's rank these teams, DMV.
Okay, so what I got myself and these 2 gentlemen beside me to do is basically rank the teams. Just give a list of 1 to 5 and then, tally up the points. So if you finish first, you get 5 points, going down to 1 point for 5th place. And this is our overall list. Now, we could have given 15 unique teams. We did not do that. We actually only gave 6 unique teams.
Really?
Whoa.
So we're pretty aligned.
We're pretty aligned for the most part. Now, coming in at 6th place with a lousy 2 points is a team that we may have kind of mentioned have been farming some easier games, T1. So T1 did not crack our top 5. They finished in 6th place overall. Coming in at number 5, the 5th best team according to Vodfathers, and this was because of I think a bit of a spicy take from one of us, is KRX, who got 4 points. KRX was on one person's list and ended up above T1.
Okay.
I think I know who that is.
Well, yeah. Process of elimination. Well, not even process of elimination. Bro wrote it down.
Yeah, memory. I recall
Wait,
doing
hold on.
that.
Do you want to go through all 5, or do you want to talk about each team a little bit first? Or
Let's unveil them and then we can go back and talk
Yeah.
about them because
Yeah.
I
Okay,
feel
okay.
like there's definitely some hot takes here.
Okay, number 4
All right.
is a team from EMEA. Fnatic came in 4th position, which actually
Respectfully.
matched up pretty well with a couple lists. In 3rd place, as well matching up with a couple lists, was Leviatán.
Yeah.
So we got Lev, this team that people were writing off before stage 1, the third best team in the world, by the way. Coming in number 2 is Paper Rex.
nice.
Yeah, makes some sense, I think. And then
Yeah.
the number one team in the world right now is a team that I think most people would have been surprised if they would have just been pretty good. It's KRÜ. It is the pink of
Yeah.
KRÜ. They are the number one team with 14 points. They were 4 points ahead of Paper Rex.
14 points. So that means 2 of us put them in first place and 1 of us put them in
Yes.
second?
Yes.
Yeah. Goddamn. I mean,
So-
I'm kind of interested in who put them in second because I feel like I feel like they're
process of elimination.
yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult for us.
Well. I know who it is as well.
But I think, can we start at the top?
Yeah,
KRÜ,
let's start at the
KRÜ are nuts, man. Every time I watch them, and admittedly, I have to keep this in mind, is that we have seen 1 week less of all of the Americas teams, and that means that for the good teams and the bad teams, it's easier to like overreact one way or another. Because I think this about Cloud9 from last week, like people were just ready to call them like completely terrible. And then KRÜ too, like I was on the KRÜ train pretty heavy. I think we were talking last Vodfathers about KRÜ looking like the best team in Americas at least. I don't think we actually said the world, but after another week, like everything they do shows such a deep understanding of how the meta currently operates with at least the Americas teams. They are so ready for what their opponents are going to do, and they move super quickly around the map. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're so creative, like in their individual roles as well. Like some of the stuff that Les is doing, I don't see like other Vipers or like just Anchor Senti players in the business swing when it's like adapting to ultimates inside a round, like the support they have as well. Honestly, know one side's going to be the strong side of them for it. Like the whole team is committed. And then like I think every single team has a duo right now that's kind of popping off. Even the bad teams, like or not in performance, like Loud, Luke Show, Darkest up in the business. Not less combination in a clutch sometimes. It just looks so fluid, man.
Where's Zeta come from? Like, what happened to him?
I genuinely don't know. It's actually insane how, like, as an individual, like, if his IGLing was good, I think most people would be like, yeah, that makes sense. He's the highest rated player in Americas right now.
It makes no sense.
He's got a 1.31 rating with
But, like,
232
yeah.
ACS and
And that's-
1.42 KD. By the way, less
exactly.
is second.
It's not just because he's surviving as well. Because sometimes the VLR rating can be a bit generous to you if you survive a lot and you like have a large amount of assists or whatever. He's got 0.82 kill per round, like star player number fragging as well. Yeah, I mean,
Wait a minute. Realization. Who was the top rated player in EMEA Stage 1? You guys remember?
don't know.
The
Great
best
question,
player in the world, the best Yoru.
Martin.
You guys know
Martin.
where did he come from?
Carmine Corp.
Sadak. Where was he before this?
Carmine Corp.
Just to answer your question. It might be
How well did Narrate play in stage 1 as well? Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It
Well,
doesn't
what-
hold
2 out
up
of 3.
completely.
Yeah. Well, I was the only person who didn't put KRÜ number one. Both of you put
Really?
KRÜ-
Because you were so on the crew train, even
I was
like
so
you
on
were
the
the
crew
only
train.
person on the crew train before,
before
they actually
they
proved that
played.
they were good.
Before it was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was there before it was cool.
You were there when it made no sense.
Yeah, yeah. This is not me doubting them because I do think. I mean, it's rare that a team like normally when a team like loses pretty heavy on a map or something, they say, we didn't play very well. We forgot our protocols. It's very rare you get a team that says, no, they just played a perfect map and we had no chance. But that's what FURIA was saying against KRÜ on Lotus, that they had no chance, which is pretty rare that a team says that. But I put Paper Rex above KRÜ because I think that if I was to pick that game, I would pick Paper Rex. I would trust Paper Rex more. And so I just picked I went with Paper Rex because I thought I would slightly favor them in that game.
I think it's interesting because that specific matchup, I do think KRÜ might... It looks like when you watch the games, KRÜ understand how their opponents want to play so well. Like, they are one step ahead of their opponents at all times. I don't think that would also apply to Paper Rex. Like, I think that specific matchup would be very hard for KRÜ in a way that these current games in Americas, they're just reading what's going on with their opponents perfectly. And trying to read what Paper Rex are up to at the best of times is not great, but especially now they're not playing any meta shit. They're literally like the most recent 2 matches. They have just stuck something onto Jet and been like, well, fuck it. Like, we'll just have something play his best character, and then Jing is playing like some of his best ever Valorant, and then we'll win the games by being great, not necessarily by playing the meta.
Yeah. And so I can kind of agree, like, in terms of like playing the most like flawless Valorant, KRÜ are playing the most flawless Valorant, but I would still just think, well, it's Paper Rex, it's Paper Rex. But
it's a philosophy thing though, right? Because like in ranking, I feel like I'm not trying to pit these teams against each other in a match together. Okay. I'm just looking at like on regional performances. Then it's like, okay, internationally, how do these teams perform? Whole other thought process, blah, blah, blah. If you're doing it your way, I think there is a good argument for Paper X number 1. I think we're just looking at regional performances across the board. KRÜ is like dominating right now, and they're taking apart like they're so hardest foe. They've won that match, still flawless, and they look the scariest. For Paper X, the reason I think I have them so low, I guess.
Well, yeah. Let's come to that. So the KRÜ were number 1 with 14 points. Paper X were second with 10 points. Now I put them number 1.
Really?
Josh, you put them number 2.
I put them number 2. Yeah.
But that means that Shyo, you put them all the way down at 5.
Yes.
So let's hear that side of the argument.
Well, for me, like regionally and in just some of their games, like Paper X to be internationally are like one of the scariest teams. So I think when you're putting them up against like the best teams once they've played their 5 weeks, a lot of the people lean PRX 24/7. I think while we're getting there, even if you look at them in kickoff, like at the very beginning, the struggle a little bit is remnant in my mind. The random game where Paper X just does like the most mistakes 24/7, Gen G gets to win type thing, it lives in my head a bit more rent free. And I realize that, there's a bounce back against Secret, which I don't think people hold much of a account for, and then they're beating Global, which I feel like it's a good feat, but it happens all the time, and like it's not as strong as like it doesn't wipe the Gen G taste out of my mouth, if that makes sense. Like that's all it is for me. I've seen the absolute low. The other teams haven't shown it, or their lows are just a bit higher than PRX's, so I have them just a bit lower. If you had me make a power ranking now of all the teams coming into like internationally, how they put up against each other, different questions entirely. But up to week 4 right now, until they fight or until they beat KRX, like I kind of quantify them towards the bottom of the top 5, not the top. Yeah, okay. Just because of that chaotic loss entity.
And I think that's part of the problems with the group stage format as well, is that Pacific has not had as many matchups of like great teams playing against great teams yet. So I can understand where you're coming from that perspective. But the last 2 weeks, Paper X have solved something. Like getting something onto Jet. Now, this might not last long term if there's no Neon nerf. If there is not a Neon nerf before London, this might end up actually like hurting their long-term growth, where they snowball into championship form. But that's an argument for like, a few weeks from now. At the moment, they have solved something, putting something on Jet. If you only look at these last 2 weeks where he's played perma Jet, admittedly, you're right. They're playing against sometimes plumbers, because they played against Secret and then they played against Global. Global are not plumbers, but Secret definitely are. Secret are doing the absolute God's work fixing the pipes out there.
Most plumbing businesses are family businesses. It makes sense. They're plumbers.
But if you look at those 2 weeks of stats, he has a 1.01 KPR with a 1.49 rating, and they've won 85% of their defense rounds. Holy fucking shit. Like, that is crazy. 4 maps, and they on 4 maps of defense side, they've only lost 7 rounds in total. That's crazy. Now, even though they're playing against, half of the time against plumbers, I think that what they've shown is such a level of dominance and such a level of like it clicking that I expect it to translate against the other top teams. But you're right, we haven't actually seen the evidence of that yet.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, in 3rd place, this was fairly consistent, which was Lev with 8 points. So we had Lev, I had them 4th, you both had them 3rd. So pretty pretty consistent across the board in terms of where we feel where Lev are. Now, I would throw something back at you two, though, which is that Lev, we're talking about some of these teams playing some plumbers and, getting away with it. They narrowly, and I mean narrowly, beat G2, right? The map that they lost was a 13-6, and then they won 13-11, 14-12. So they narrowly scraped past G2, and their other two games were against C9, who, at the time, certainly could not shoot a gun, did not know how to play the game, and Envy, who, I don't know what this crash out is, but they aren't very good. Now, I agree.
Well, it was the most dominant game, the fastest game in America's history.
Now, I accept that does go in Lev's favor, but is there some trepidation with this team that, when they do play against, some good teams, like they easily could have, if they had lost to G2 in that close game, we probably wouldn't put them here.
Yes, I think, though, that G2 are not plumbers. I'm still not rating G2 as plumbers. Like, I understand that they're 1 and 2 right now.
What about that next game, MIBR?
Well, the MIBR game could go. I think that one depends on which MIBR turns up.
Yes.
Because I think MIBR have the potential to play a lot better than they did this week, and then that could be a genuinely really good game. I think part of it, though, is me being startled by the skill on Lev. The Cloud9 game, I think C9 were not necessarily just like all thumbs, 2 left feet, couldn't shoot at all. I think they actually got themselves into some winnable positions in that game against Lev, but they got outskilled so fucking hard. And when you watch the game of Lev versus C9, it's not two teams whiffing on each other, and it's like, who has least ability. It is C9 looked like they're going to get a kill that should be fairly easy for them to get, and somebody on Lev pulls something astonishing out. Like Blows is hitting some like mad 90-degree flick, and Neon was destroying people. So I am more inclined to give Lev credit for how much they are stomping these teams than the other way around, because when you watch the game, the skill is so high.
Yeah. They've also used that skill to pilot like one of the most aggressive comps, I feel like, inside the league right now. Like Lev is running, or KRÜ's running this really cool, like, Vise, Viper, Omen, like slow stuff with just one Neon at the spearhead. These guys are double dueling sometimes with a Sky in the business as well, like no scans needed. Jump in and frag. It is a bit like Raging Bull in a China shop where like it comes at a cost to these close games. I feel like if they played something slower, they'd be capable of it. They might win as well at the same time. But
I'm much happier to see them play fast than slow.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And it's when it's their job to win the game too. This is the thing that sets them apart and puts them at number 3 instead of 4 and 5. When it's their job to win against the worst team, they don't go to an OT. They don't go to a map lost. It's a definitive 2-0. It's a record-breaking 13-4, 13-4. It's not an OT against Team Secret. It's not a map loss to Giants, right? Like that's the idea with Lev right now. They're frying when they're supposed to. It's remnant of a top 3 team. The reason they're not higher is because their style has some rough edges still. That's all it is. Like KRÜ, mega clean right now, and you guys are putting PRX above them a little bit. I think I had a different take in terms of who was up there. It was KRX for me, but either way, APAC right now.
We'll get to that.
APAC are in a situation. APAC are in a situation right now where it just feels like their tests have been a bit higher and they've looked a bit cleaner in those moments as well. Lev is really fucking good though, and they're really playing this double duelist the best in the whole world.
Yeah, sure. Let's move on to our next team, which again was pretty consistent, which was Fnatic. You both had them in 4th. I had them in 3rd, so I just swapped Lev and Fnatic. But again, some consensus in the Vodfathers. Now, why are you guys slight doubters? I'm gonna say. Why are you doubting Fnatic? Why are Lev better than Fnatic? Little Lev.
EMEA is astonishingly bad right now in terms of its general level. Like the average level of EMEA when I'm watching it is so poor. I think there are some bad teams all over the world. Absolutely. Like if you're an EMEA fan, you can get in the comments and you can be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Team Secret, Varel, Zeta, these are all terrible teams in the Pacific getting wins over them. Yeah, valid. You can get in there and be like, Cloud9 have got no fucking hands, Nepo team, and, Envy and Egypt. Yep, absolutely valid too. But when you're looking at the middle of the pack or the teams that should be playing well in EMEA who aren't, there are so many underperforming teams in EMEA that, in fact, only Fnatic really inspires confidence from that region. I think it would be interesting to see Foot and Eternal Fire turn up to London and see what they could do, and like, can they put something together and go on a run? Those are definitely like teams to look at. Liquid as well, I think you could throw in that bucket. But in terms of teams that are like, they're good, you can tell that they're good, they have protocols, they have shooters, and you trust them to be able to deliver in games, I think in EMEA I'm only really looking at Fnatic as being the team that's at that level right now. And even then, it's a bit more wobbly. Like the I think the game against Giants and their loss on, I mean, they're running a sub, which is part of it too. That is the rough part of assessing Fnatic. So the Giants game you shouldn't really be paying too much attention to, I suppose. But
really,
well, I mean,
I would say that like it's I know, but it's quantifiable because like I feel like Giants are so far below them in where they're supposed to be. It kind of evens it out. Like them playing with a sub against Giants, like you can actually quantify that game as to like being more of an even matchup. The way they played with Desmo, by the way, they didn't scrim a single time, not even a minute. They just put him in. Like that is the most insane part. That even have Desmo look like that on Haven. You just kind of knew their strats and they played the game. They had zero practice with them.
They was giving Desmo a lot of credit afterwards, saying that he was remembering all of the ante against Giants and like making very good calls actually alongside Boaster on maps 2 and 3. But it was a weird game though, man, because it starts off on map 1 and Desmo's the only player that can shoot. You know, like there were lots and lots of rounds that they lost to Giants that had nothing to do with the fact that they were playing with a sub. You know, they round 3 and 5, Kayak gets picked, I think, as the first kill. One, because they were doing that like fast play that Fnatic do where they run straight into the mid window area. Yeah. And then the other one, he's like taking an op down on a peak in short and gets held and destroyed. I don't know. Like, I think Fnatic are very good. I'm not mad about putting them in like third best. And I also think that they're one of the teams that you should respect to have a chance of, you know, tournament winning, you know, genuinely. Yeah. But they're not inspiring. They don't look as clean as like a KRÜ. They don't look as skilled across the board as a Lev. And they don't look as wild and dangerous as a Paper Rex to me.
Yeah. Agreed with all 4 of those or 3 of those points. The non-cleanness is like them having these weird halves where they're just non-existence, charging Sage mode energy for their next 8-round comeback. Like, I don't know what type of style Fnatic has, but every game, 1 half gone, 1 half, 9 rounds won. And I feel like in consistency, if you put them against those other teams, which I wasn't doing originally, but if we're doing it now, they're not going to be able to do that, I think, consistently at a top 3 level, top 4 level even. You could put them at 5, I feel like top 5 as well because of that inconsistency. They don't have the same firepower as they did before as well, and they haven't shown that they have really. Their strats are amazing, and I think one of the best things about them is you can literally get a sub in that hasn't played with them before, kind of knows their strategies, and the system works so well. I think that's what puts them inside that top 4. That's what I'm taking from that Giants win. But they are very seesawy, man, which is why they can't get higher. Like, they're not clean enough to get top 3, but they belong in the top 5.
Okay, well, I mean, I would say one thing about Fnatic that, like, unlike a team like Lev, for instance, or even KRÜ, or even Paper Rex, like, they don't necessarily, like, have a clear, like, meta read direction, if you know what I mean. Like, if you just look at, like, sure. Alfea's played agents this stage, he's played 2 games of Waylay, 2 games of Race, 2 games of Viper, 2 games of Killjoy, 1 game of ISO, and 1 game of Cypher, right? Like, just on that alone, you know, it's pretty clear that, like, they're just chopping and changing based on the map, whatever they think is best, whereas, you know, you've got teams like Lev, it's Neon Phoenix. You know, you've got teams like KRÜ, it's Vice, and
they've got a
Neon,
vision.
Like, they don't necessarily have a clear vision. So that will be interesting. Obviously, that might work. You know, that's not necessarily always a bad thing because, you know, you could say like maps need different comps, but it'll be interesting to see. In 5th, though, I mean, we're just going to hand it over because only one of us had this team in their list, and you had them in 2nd place. To me, putting KRX on the list isn't a disaster. Why are they 2nd? Why are they better than Lev and Fnatic and Paper Rex? Why are this team better?
For me, even though there are some scores that are closer than others, I feel like they're cleaner than Lev. I feel like they're double duelist. I like it more than Lev's as well. Like, you talk about like teams having a clear vision for the comp. They have a vision of how it plays as well inside the game. That's a bit better than Lev's. Where like for Lev, sometimes it's crazy thing that's able to save them in a round. For KRX, it's like, wow, that execute is dope, and certain player was set up to perform so well, and it's cleaned the round out for them in particular. I also just think that if Lotus pops up, Yong like is activated and becomes like the mega factor,
looks good,
which
though.
is like something that, you know, I know Lotus is also really good for KRÜ and whatnot, but like no other team really has like a map where like, holy, we dominate this totally. And I feel like for KRX, it's one of those that even though you know these maps are close, they're in the business. Past that, like I think across the whole team, the talent is just getting better day by day. Like when it comes to these matchups, it's been tested properly as well. Like they're in one of the harder Pacific groups. They don't really have as many free matches. The first one actually was secret. They showed us that Nongshim are frauds and have a problem. Like they kind of, that was the thing that we decided after that week 2 match. And then from there they faced Global and a Gen G that looked pretty good too. Like they got swamped by the way in that first map in Haven, and then after that brought it back really, really well and gave us what was the most entertaining match of all of the group stage so far.
Well, yeah, that's true. That 1917
sensation.
That 1917 Lotus game was very fun to watch.
Yeah,
But
yeah, a lot of their gaps too, just to really quickly wrap up, I feel like their gaps aren't like as big of a weak factor against them. A lot of the times it's like other teams doing crazy stuff in a round that gets them locked down. There might be an ult disparity. And speaking of ults as well, I think they have some of the best ult usage inside the VCT currently too. Like there's some very creative things where they don't even have the same type of tools as other teams, like because they don't run as much fade. But the Astro Walls in combination with like when they choose to use Seekers and follow with them as well, like it's a very like brawly comp like Lev. Like that was my matchup. It was like KRX versus Lev. They brawl a lot too, but it's like very intentional the way they play the game, where Lev is just like, we're brawling it out. Let's see what happens. Our talent is amazing. Like Mako has a plan. Like Bane is there to cover some of the gaps that are in the business. I'm saying this fucking term in the business, but and they still have that talent and they're duelists. Like Hyunmin does crazy shit. Freeing does crazy shit.
Yeah. When I was looking at these teams, though, like I personally think the Paper Rex are looking like the scariest team in the last 2 weeks. Like since they figured something out, Paper Rex look really scary in Pacific. But I was looking more towards T1 than KRX, to be honest with you, as being like the team that would be next up. I know that they didn't make our list. They ended up being in 6th place.
Well, both me and you, Josh, put T1 5th.
I was thinking between T1 and FURIA. I was heavily debating between T1 and FURIA because I do still believe that FURIA are quite a good team. I think they've just run into
the best team in the world, according to us.
Yeah, a brick wall with that FURIA matchup. With the matchup against KRÜ. But I went with T1 because they've been clean in their games. They haven't dropped a map yet. They've also, when they matched up against RRQ, who I still think are not that bad, they did somewhat dismiss them. Like, that was not... It didn't look like RRQ were a great team in that game. The double Sentinel stuff that they're running on Pearl, I think actually might even be the best approach to Pearl, and no one else is doing that. So I have respect for their, like, meta read as well. I think that they are a good team that, even though they haven't been tested very much, the couple of tests that they've had, they've passed with flying colors and have good ideas.
Oh, you said couple of tests, brother. Their testing room is sanitized. Other teams in this top 5 are coming in with shit on the walls. They're coming in with that fucking the little Sani. It smells like a doctor's office in there every time they start a match, man. Viral. DFM and Zeta. You said a couple of matches.
Okay, one test.
Where's the couple? That's plural. Where's the plural?
I was trying to sneak an extra test in there. You are right. It's only really one game against another like good opponent.
Yeah.
But what can they do? They can't decide who they're playing against. This is the problem with group stages.
Well, was it not decided?
Oh, the hot balls.
The hot balls.
The warm T1 balls.
We said it earlier too. We use this as a plus for Leviatán to put them where they were. Like, hey, they've looked very clean when they're supposed to look clean. True. They've also played one less week, so it's a bit harder to quantify. I think they faced MIBR. We'd have a much better chance of saying multiple tests, where are they? And if they faced Loud instead, they might not be top 3 because they have the same T1 characteristic of they face kind of bums. We don't know that yet, so which is why we're quantifying the way it is. But
that's why
T1, man,
that's
really,
why I'm saying with T1 that the RRQ game actually was a test, because RRQ have come out now and beaten Full Sense too, and Full Sense like good skill, good game plans, but didn't adjust anything. RRQ figured them out, managed to overcome them, beat them in a 2-1 game. Like RRQ, I don't think are complete bums, and
I agree.
T1 made them look like a mid team. So
I'll ask you TMV this then. Like, what is, you asked me for KRX, what makes T1 special? Why are they getting these easy wins against the bums? What makes their bums clean? Like,
okay, well, one of the things is genuinely that double Senti comp on Pearl. They've played Pearl three
That Pearl
times
is
out of
very
the
good.
8 maps that they've played, and their Pearl might be best in world. Because I think that double Sentinel comp that they're running is an incredibly fundamentally good way of approaching Pearl in this meta. They've got great information around the map. It suits their team really well. It puts people on good roles where they can have good impact. Like, you're gonna get really good performances coming out from E2 on the Chamber and Meteor on the Killjoy most of the time. It's just they play that that map really well. So I think that's one of the reasons. The other reason is they have a good team. Like, they actually just have good players too, right? Like, they have a very skilled roster. We've talked about them being frauds in the past, and maybe this is going to happen again, where they get to playoffs or get to London and they end up being a bit fraudulent. But they have a squad that is talented enough to go toe to toe with the Fnatics of the world, with the Paper Rexes of the world or whatever, and not get completely outshot.
For me, the big thing with T1, why they're doing so well right now, is mostly, I think, because of Buzz leveling up. I think Buzz, historically, back in my day, Buzz was seen as like one of the best duelists in the world. And I think over the past couple of years, people haven't been saying that. People have not been. Buzz is one of the best duelists in the world. Buzz is like a good, sometimes great duelist, but he's not one of the best in the world recently. I think this stage, maybe because the meta suits him a bit more. He was never really a Yoru player, so that whole time wasn't really for him. I also don't think he was necessarily like the best double duelist player, either. I think he plays better in the old DRX style of he's the focus, everyone else is setting him up, and can he navigate through things? And I think now that we've kind of, at least T1 have gone back to that, right? They're playing pretty much solo duelist all the time. It's just him. He does an incredible job of knowing when he is being set up well and getting the kills when he is. I mean, his KPR is 0.96, so he's getting a hell of a lot of kills. But he's also really, really good at solo duelist, which you have to be good at sometimes. And this is what a lot of, I think, the neons right now, a lot of the double duelist neons or best neons, have incredible movement. Buzz is doing it in a different way, I think, where his movement is on neon is good, but it's not it's not like some of the best in the world. He's not Dampy with the neon movement. But what he is really good at is realizing when he's on his own and when he just needs to chill and just do nothing and just live for a couple seconds, whilst his team, because he's playing solo duelist, can actually get in onto the site and then help support him and take then a good fight. I think he's doing an incredible job, and his rating this stage, he's the 5th highest rated player in Pacific right now, and I think that kind of makes sense because when you watch him, he is doing some incredible things. And just in general, T1, E2 is the 4th highest rated player, Munchkin is 7th right now. So
but
individually,
because they've been
well, I mean, yes, they have been farming some
too.
free teams, yes, but I think also,
But yeah, they've been doing it cleanly.
They have talented players that are playing pretty well. I think Buzz in particular is a big reason for that. So yeah, that's our top 6, I suppose, with T1, hanging on in 6th place. I think overall the list is okay. I mean, me and you, Sideshow, had the 5 same teams, and honestly, we had T1 in 5th. We swapped Fnatic and Lev, and we swapped Paper Rex and KRÜ. So we were in lockstep, and even Shyo, apart from the KRX spanner in the works, it was mostly in agreement.
Yeah.
So shall we move on? Shall we move on to some teams that aren't so good?
Let's do the exact opposite of this. The teams that should be good who aren't. It's the fraud alert. The fraud alert is going off well and truly this week. And I think, to me, no team has been more fraudulent this year, really, than from what was promised to what has been delivered. No team has been more fraudulent than Vitality, unfortunately. The super teams are going to be a theme in this segment, though. They really are. Now, whether or not you want to call them true super teams, you guys know which teams I'm talking about. Vitality and MIBR are the big offenders for this week. But Vitality have been an offender the whole year, really. They've looked like I was actually willing to give them a lot of bail when they were playing with Yampi Yoru, and they were playing with Unfake and stuff, because they actually still performed all right.
Yeah.
They are playing worse now. Like, they are playing like some shite. The comms check-ins that they ran will haunt this team forever.
Yeah, genuinely.
Guys, can I say something? Can I? Oh, silence.
Durka and Chronicle speaking in Russian to each other, Yampi trying to interject, and the round dissolving instantly.
Yeah.
And then, what was the other one? The other one was
we need to do something.
we need to do something.
Guys. Your IGL says we need to do something.
But also, where are the rest of the comms? Like, where's the comms from anybody else taking charge in that moment? Like, it doesn't have to be your IGL in that situation. When you hear the comms of other teams, lots of people are adding to the pot, right? They're all throwing in the little dishes. I think Yampi's calling last year was very, very strong. His pre-barrier calls, both on attack and defense, demonstrated extremely good pre-planning of strategies from him, Pal, whoever was working on things behind the scenes. They had a really large strat book of preset ideas. They were running lots and lots and lots of different rounds that you would see from all sorts of different teams. It's not like they were crafting new stuff, but they would pick out lots of different things and add it to a playbook, and they had a really deep playbook. And Yampi demonstrated a very good understanding of ults. He was always ahead of the ult game. He would call around the opponent's ults. He would make plans knowing what they were going to do. It looked really good. This year, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no pre-barrier round calling that's good. There's no mid-round calling that's good. I mean, the final round was a disaster. An absolute disaster. Losing to time through the Viper's Pit, where Yampi's got the spike alone under bridge and they don't know whether to rotate or plant or what. What a fucking car
And also
crash.
could have planted outside the pit. Like, but just ran into it and died.
What
I
a
mean,
car crash.
It was a car crash.
Here's the thing with Vitality, right? Here's the timeline, because the other thing is, and I'll lead up to this, I've never seen a team more socially attacked by their fans via a game loss and via their record. Sometimes teams are along for the ride. Sometimes there's an excuse, or people are like, well, you're looking forward to the next one. It's unfortunate. I feel like the Vitality bubble popped this week. Because at least on Twitter, man, the people that were like, you know, you get this guy from Fnatic and he does nothing for you, and like this plan is not working out. You started with Vitality, we have a sub. Every loss, it's an excuse. We have a sub. It's all good. The sub comes in. It's the sub's first week. Yeah, I said, just join the team. You're bound to lose. It's okay, guys. Yeah, it's totally fine. A few more games happen. They're not listening to the coach. You know, it's the coach's plan, and there might be a bit of a disconnect. It's just the second week. In this one, because we have such good listen-ins, like Josh is saying, from other teams, they can see what's supposed to be good, the fans, and it's not. Pal himself is saying, stick to the plan. And that chair had to be replaced after, what was it? Scott is like smashing it to the
I've
people
never seen them
downstairs.
that angry. I've never seen either of those people that angry, like no matter what team they're on.
And as a result, there's no more excuses. Like, this was BBL, the match for Vitality. This should be the way BBL were looking as well. A Vitality slam, at least, or leaning towards Vitality to become a win. I know a lot of people were saying 50-50 because of how they've looked, but it's a 50-50 because Vitality's had so many excuses follow them, I feel like, up until this point. Now, like, dude, especially that last round where the plant doesn't happen, there's like, co-streamers I've never seen in my life, I think, starting to co-stream after that one on TikTok, reacting to that plant round. What is he doing? Oh no! Like, Hypercam unregistered number 2, just getting their 2 cents in. It's the fans are literally making accounts and becoming personalities because they don't want to just be fans anymore. They have to take action. They want to be involved. It's insane. I've never seen a
you get
team like this.
incentivized to direct action because of what's been going on. Yeah, I was the point of Vitality when they formed this team was to take the structure of BBL and use it to improve the great players that Vitality already had, right? Like, you're adding Chronicle in as well, but they already had a really good roster last year. Like, last year's roster for Vitality, on paper, it's star-studded, but they had a massive problem with their IGLing and their structure, their overall like game plan approach and how they wanted to run the team. This year, you've added that supposed structure from BBL with Yampi and Pal, and yet they're still playing so loose. I've talked about this in previous weeks that I hated their defense side calling, that it was way too loose. They didn't have proper like defensive crossfires, setups on sites. The setups were still dog, by the way. Like some of these Haven defensive setups were astonishingly poor. And if they had just put a bit more time into some more regimented positioning on their like A site defenses, which is a massive problem for a number of teams at the moment, actually. I don't understand how it's so difficult for teams. They probably would have won this game 2-0, and we would have never seen the atrocious map that was Breeze for them. Yeah. But what I don't get is, how have you taken Pal and Yampi and failed to enforce the BBL system on Vitality? I don't know if it's just a case of, like, it's too difficult when you come into a team and you haven't built it from the ground up. So it already has its own culture and it already has its own players, and you have to work with people like Durka and Chronicle. And so you feel like you can't enforce stuff upon them. But holy fuck, they needed to enforce from the very beginning that they were going to use the BBL system, because this is not it. This is ass.
The problem as well, I think, that they've got is you're right. It feels quite loose, but the thing, and maybe that's because they want to give, we've got Durka and Chronicle, we've got these fantastic players, so let's kind of let them kind of, like figure it out. But I think the fundamental thing that Vitality have completely misunderstood is they have come from a team where the IGL micromanages their fucking decisions. Like, Boaster is telling them exactly what to do, like, every single round. They were not succeeding in a team where it's like, yeah, guys, they're not succeeding in a team where it's like, yeah, just go and kind of figure stuff out. They're succeeding in a team that is like, Boaster is telling you, Durka, fucking dash now, Chronicle, you fucking lurk here at this point in the round. Like, that's the team they need. Those players succeed with structure. We know that. It seems like they don't succeed without it. I mean, we saw Durka on Vitality last year. It wasn't a success, right? When, again, it seemed like, it was kind of a bit more loose, kind of go with the flow type stuff. Like, yeah, this team needs, like, they need to completely rethink what they're doing. I think they need to, like, pick a comp. They need to do, like, what Lev have done, right? Which is pick a fucking comp, play it all the time, and just, like, do that, right? Like,
yeah. Lock in preset rounds, preset setups. Yeah. Like, you have some variety. Like, Durka's allowed to call where he wants to go and take a fight at the beginning of the defense round, but you build a plan around that. On your attack sides, you have pre-barrier calls. You have, like, preset protocols of, if this happens, we react in this kind of way.
Because one of the round where Scott slams the desk is fucking atrocious on Breeze, because it's a B exec from BBL, and Yampi is alone back site, and he just decides to. He fucking left clicks the flash against the wall rather than just right click, even though the right click is the same time. And so he gives fucking BBL like, hey, this fucking flash is coming, by the way. Can you hear this? Like, he gives them that sound cue instead of just right clicking for no reason. It doesn't flash anyone. He dies alone back site. Prophet then runs in on the site on his own and just harbor ults whilst his team is still on A. And he just fucking harbor ults on his own. And that's when Scott slams the desk. Because, like, why the fuck are you just ulting there? Just running into sight on your own, trying to desperately save an unsavable situation.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I think this team is an example of a squad where they are going to need a roster change, even though they don't need one. So what I mean by that is...
They need a sacrifice.
They need a human sacrifice scapegoat in order to just pile the sins onto one person, kick them off the team, and have a fresh restart. Because what they actually need is a structural change, a mentality change, all of that kind of thing. But those can be very difficult to do if you don't, like, reset with a roster change. Like, roster changes reset your brain a little bit, where you're like, okay, well, everyone knows now that we need to begin from the ground floor and build up on top of it. I can see you shaking your head though, Shia.
The point that I agree with is how the system of calling in the team is completely broken. And by that round is something we were talking about before, where Yampi's asking what to do, and by the fact that, TMV is mentioning that Kron and Durka come from a place where they get micromanaged a lot. You can shake that off. They could build up to see what the hell is up with Kron and Durka offering ideas more and thinking about their gameplay a bit less. But I don't feel like that's where those guys are the strongest. Now, you could experiment with Yampi calling a lot more and being more micromanaged, but the Yoru gameplay that he has, him playing agents and being a bit more micro heavy as a player, I don't think that works either. Yampi comes from a system. You're talking about the BBL system, Josh, where you said it was Yampi and PAL. I thought it was Yampi, Magnum, Sociable, and PAL. I thought it was a three-way street with them. And I forget which interview I was watching or which take where it was like Sociable and Magnum actually gave Yampi a lot of ideas on what to work with, what they had. Then Yampi could make a call. I always thought that BBL was a witch's cauldron where you add ingredients and then come up with a spell. Kind of like Yap Yap, where you're making like a bunch of those potions, right? Like you need to add a set amount of ingredients. When you just use one, if you just have Yampi, of course in the middle of a round he's going to be asking, guys, we need to do something. It's not that he doesn't have an idea. He needs to see the chessboard. Yampi can't see the chessboard without people calming, but Kron and Durka are never going to be people to calm. I don't know what the hell Sayonara is doing,
also,
but it doesn't seem...
Sometimes they're doing it in Russian as well, and he doesn't...
That's the problem,
well,
right?
Yeah, I mean, that was only when it was just the two of them alive.
I know, but it's funny.
But that's a very good example. If I can get parasocial with it, like in that moment, he's hearing two of his players talk a lot, understanding that they're trying to come up with a plan. His brain's thinking, oh, they need a call here. They need to have a plan. Can I interrupt to say something? Stops the flow, op shot, right? Like it makes sense in the way both these types of calling systems don't work. You're saying a roster change. If it's a roster change, are you going to drop Kron and Turka and that system, or are you going to drop Yampi? I feel like is the question for that team.
I'm not even suggesting you necessarily need to change any of those pieces. I'm like, I could see. Let me give the most extreme example. Profek is not the problem, but I could see a world where they literally just cut Profek, sign somebody else, and it helps because it forces them to rebuild all of their like fundamental stuff from the ground up again. And I'm not saying that would be on Profek at all. You might be correct that Yampi relied a lot on Sociable and Magnum. I actually don't know. I didn't talk to those old BBL guys, and we didn't get to hear the comms listenings properly. So I don't know how much of like a witch's cauldron it was.
I mean, both of those players have become IGLs this year now.
Yeah, Magnum wasn't... I mean, Magnum already was prior to that with Karma Corp, wasn't he? And he didn't do a great job of it on his own. But yeah, they're like vocal players with ideas, for sure. Sayonara has been pretty vocal, actually, in the comms listenings that we've heard. And one of the things, though, that I want to focus on again is that they had very good pre-barrier ideas on their attack side with BBL. So, like, that you should be able to do with one guy. I mean, multiple people is always helpful, obviously, to keep the juices going. But it's mid-round where the, like, Witch's Cauldron helps enormously.
Yeah. That's the most important part. Like, that's the consistency of the team.
But bro, if Kron and Durka aren't coming like that, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's the style of player. Like, you've played... Think about us. We've all played games together. Think about our styles. Who shuts up more, who talks more, and what happens when there's big moments. And this is not even at a pro level. People have styles.
They do.
My thing is, you remove Profek or even Sayonara if you want to look towards that end. You don't want to take your three big figureheads of like the style of the team. It still won't fix the fact that these guys played such a different game. At least that's where my head is. I think that's where the problem is.
But I think you could fix that somewhat with in-game style, which is like play like right now, just play fucking Raise Neon a lot and just fucking run XX. And just like, and then just rely on the fact that you have better players. And so your plan is very simple. The plan is already decided. There is no discussion. We're going A. I mean, we've watched some fucking Breeze games and everyone's just fucking going A 12 rounds in a row. And it fucking works. And teams have no answer. Just do that. Just fucking find a weak pot and just fucking keep doing it. Because you've got better players. And as you said, Josh, EMEA is fucking shit. Let's move on. Let's talk about another team.
Yeah. MIBR.
Dog shit yesterday and cost me my VFL. I was going for fucking rank number 1, okay? And I fucking took out Jing, who is the highest performing VFL player by far so far this stage. He's been absolutely frying. He fucking scams 11 points. They are as VFL efficient as you possibly could be. Jing doesn't even play that well, but they win a 13-3 and a 13-8. He scrapes some kills to get like the next point. Fucking jammy shit gets 11 points. Fuck you, Jing. But I'm like, it's fine, guys. I've got Zekken against Cloud9. That's an easy 2-0. Floor is 9 points.
It was an easy 2-0.
It was. Floor is 9 points. Don't even worry about it. And then he drops a fucking sticker. It gets to OT on map 1. He's on 14 kills. I'm like, oh, thank God. He'll at least get a kill in OT. Doesn't. Ends on 14 kills map 1. It's all a fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyway, MIBR also played terribly. Forget my VFL, but also they were dog shit. And in fact, let me talk about this team because I need to fucking talk about this team because I was caring about this game quite a lot because of the VFL second stuff.
Yep.
So I was dialed in on what MIBR were doing wrong. Their calling in this game was fucking atrocious.
It was horrible.
It was fucking atrocious calling this game. On Breeze, C9 were doing a lot of like very fast like pivoting floods. In fact, that's what I associate with C9 in general anyway. When I think C9, I think on defense side, they're fucking running across the map to flood in and try and, you know, get to wherever you are as the exec is coming in. That's what I think of C9. That's how they play. And yet for some reason, MIBR, every single round on attack side Breeze were 15 seconds of silence into an exec. And by which point, C9 have taken all of mid, and they are just running to whatever side that exec is coming in. And then MIBR are like, oh, fuck, there's 4 people here again. Fuck, what do we do? What do we do? I don't know. And then on defense side, Breeze, C9, hey guys, I'll have an A hit again. Yeah, I'll do A hit again. I'll take another A hit, please, with another A hit. MIBR, where are all you? Well, we're going to 4-stack B again. Yeah, we're going to 4-stack B again, actually. Actually, we're going to double down a 4-stack B again with just one guy on A every single fucking round because we think that will work. It doesn't fucking work. You're playing retake every round, and MIBR scam their way to some of these rounds. I mean, the first the Breeze should not have been close. MIBR was scamming rounds. Tex was scamming rounds. From the very first pistol. Go and watch the pistol back. He scams the first pistol round.
The first pistol round was crazy. The first pistol round had me thinking, oh, God, Cloud9 are going to get into winnable positions and then throw it away.
Fucking throw it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then the very next round is MIBR in a post plan, and Zelsis diffuses inside a cove.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
And it's like,
and the casters don't even realize.
No.
Ender and Mitch are like, oh, nice eco, nice damage.
Yeah.
It's like fucking 1-1. It's 1-1.
Damage.
They lost. Yeah.
Crazy
damage. Mental damage to me. Anyway. Breeze. No, I've got to keep going. Breeze.
Go on, keep going.
Breeze, C9 were actually good, I think. They came up with a good plan, and I thought that C9 were good. And really, the only reason that was close is because MIBR had more skillful players that bailed them out of some rounds, and Tex was playing well. Now, we get to map 2, and we get the full Tex experience. A very good map from Tex, where he's frying some rounds, and a full traffic cone. I mean, it was rough. He could not hit any shots, really, on that second map. But the problem for me on the second map is C9, I don't think, were that good at split. I thought they played a very average split. This is a below-average team in Americas playing an average map. And MIBR could not beat that. That, to me, was more of the worry. Okay, maybe you're shit at Breeze. Cool. Like, that's fine. You know, good teams can be bad at maps. That's fine. That was C9's pick. C9, I thought, were good on that map. Sure, you lost in OT. Cool, whatever. But Split, your map pick, against and C9 were just doing, to me, a lot of fairly basic stuff. They didn't, you know, they weren't reinventing the wheel necessarily here. You know, it wasn't amazing from them. And you still couldn't beat that team. That was like, holy fuck. This team was fucking... To me, it looked like they thought they had already won the game. And thought, like, we can kind of just do whatever and get away with it, and we'll be fine. And they couldn't.
Yeah. I've got a lot of specific problems with what MMBR were doing, too. I agree with you that Cloud9 were playing well on Breeze. They came up with... There were a few things that Cloud9 were not doing well in previous weeks. They weren't playing aggressively enough, especially on defense. They weren't actually challenging people, but even on attack too, they weren't finding the right timings to go aggressive. They brought the game to MLBR in this game. Like right from the pistol round, at the very first round of the very first beginning of the match, they push elbow on defense and they catch MLBR and put themselves in a winnable position, and then Tech scams the round. Yeah. But overall, really good defensive aggression from Cloud9 on Breeze. They had some good ideas. MIBR, though, on their attack side, the spacing was horrible. And normally when you're playing a double duelist comp like MIBR are on both maps actually, but let's take Breeze where they're playing the Jet and the Neon. Their general idea is with this composition, and it's a weird comp, right? We should probably talk about that too. It's a really fucking weird comp. But when they exec, you have Jet dash into smoke, you have Sky flash to pop out for Aspas, so he gets set up with a flash to take a fight into backside, and then you also have Zekken being able to go in with him. In theory, that comp should be very overwhelming for site anchors to deal with, because the combo play from Aspas and Zekken, if they're aligned with each other, should be overwhelming. Like, best case scenario, you're taking one of them and getting steamrolled by the other and losing the site. and yet the actual coordination between the two of them was almost non-existent. Like, and this happened on the retakes too, by the way. There were so many moments. You could fill a full YouTube video with these moments where two people on MIBR have one idea and two people have a different idea. And this was happening on Split as well. So like in a retake scenario, two people take an early timing, a more aggressive timing, and two people take a sit-back timing. And what I was noticing on Split was that it tended to be Zekin and Mazzino taking the aggressive timing, and Aspas and Tex taking the more passive timing. And what that means is you have your Raze and your Harbor. No, your Raze and your, what was Mazzino playing? Astra, sorry. Your Raze and your Astra are like looking to take fights at the same time. Sorry, dude.
Your Neon and Astra.
Neon and Astra looking to take fights at the same time. And then your Raze and your Vice are looking to take fights at the same time. 5 seconds, not 5 seconds, but like 3 seconds later. Very disjointed. I don't know why they were so out of sync with each other today. Don't know if it was a comms issue or what, but like Fraud said in the coach interview after map 1, we're playing real sloppy right now, and that's why we lost Breeze, and it was 14-12. And it's like, okay, well, at least Fraud doesn't think that was a good performance from MIBR, because it wasn't. But you're right, in the second map was more concerning, because it was the same type of shit where they played sloppy, and it was worse from Cloud9. And you got a classic, and I think for the first time this year, a classic Aspas bait performance, where his stats look phenomenal on Split, 1.42 rating. Bro is baiting and losing them rounds. And hold on, because when I frame it like that, I'm taking one aspect of it. But the other aspect would be Zekin and Mazzino need to slow the fuck down if Aspas wants to play like that. Like, you can frame it, if you're an Aspas believer, you can frame it the other way, where you're like, why the fuck are they inting before Aspas wants to take the fight?
Well,
but
I mean,
either way, completely on the wrong page with each other.
There's one round in particular that sticks in my mind of like an example where the rest of the team does play at the Aspas timing, and it fucking costs them because they're playing against a team that's fast flooding. It's when they Astra ult across B. They're just doing a full B exec. It's 5-man group B exec. And they put up their Astra wall, Astra ult, and they're ready to go in. And then a snake bite lands in the choke point. And they just sit there.
Yeah.
And
they're playing their double duelist comp, by the way.
They're playing double duelist,
You can double blast pack to new box and you're pretty safe, and then your Neon goes out the other direction.
Yeah. All fine. They wait the whole time. All of C9 rotate. Literally all of C9. Like, Zephyr goes into mid, and 4 people are on B.
That's the round where Oxy's behind them already, is it? The one where he pushes out A and he's literally behind them.
He's literally ran behind them, and they're waiting for this snake bite. Then
he's in B main at the same time as they exec.
Yeah,
like
they
from
get Almond Flash, and he's there killing them. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's like you're playing double duelist. You can't afford. You're playing double duelist, 5 stacked up. You cannot like, hey guys, we're here outside B, and then also just do fuck all, especially against a team that has been a defensive aggroing you.
Yeah.
So you know that you might have lost some of the other matches.
Which, by the way, is why Verno's calling is also under such criticism in this game, because they were doing a lot of these 5-person or like 4-1 stack stuff, and then they weren't finding the correct moments to punish what Cloud9 were doing. Even when Cloud9 were pushing them repeatedly on Breeze as well, didn't really find the answer to it. Didn't do anything interesting or creative. Zelsa's definitely outcalled
Didn't do a single fake on Breeze. Well, they did one little thing that was like meant to trick C9, which was they did the thing where you smoke mid with the Harbor, and then you fake like you're doing an A split, but then you're pushing up the other side of mid, and they flash through, and that's when Zekin gets that incredible kill. They get 2 kills, they win the round, right? That was the only time that they like tried to trick C9, being like, oh look, we're doing something fast over here. Oh, yep, we're not. And the fact that they didn't do anything else, like, oh, here's a fake B hit, but actually we're going A, as this team is fucking sprinting to the other side of the map, like, that is concerning, because I think, like,
it is.
A team this good should be able to very quickly diagnose and, like, exploit how Cloud9 were playing. Not that Cloud9 were playing, Cloud9 were playing very well. But let's be real. This team should not be losing to Cloud9. Even if Cloud9 are playing well. Cloud9 are the team that do not beat teams that are better than them. That is their role in Americas. I mean, Cloud9 are in fucking crazy zone. They've lost to Envy, a team that they should be better than, and now beat MIBR. This is not what Cloud9 do.
They're doing the opposite. It's so true. I didn't think about that. They're not themselves at the moment. It was a tragic game. Shia, you'll have to go. It's worth taking a look at.
Can I ask you, Josh, having seen that performance, and Shia, you can wage in on this as well. You can watch Shia wager. Like, is this just a 1-week thing? Like, Vitality, I think we're just concerned. Full stop. Like, the whole thing is like in trouble. For MIBR, I mean, they play Lev next, but are you like concerned long term, or was this just like we played a sloppy game? They'll be fine.
The game against Leviatán could cost them genuinely their run to London, right? Like this loss, because if they lose, they've lost this game. They're now 2-1. If they lose the next one coming up to Lev, then they're 2-2, and then they play Envy. Let's assume that they finish 3-2. Is there a world in which they're actually? No, they're not, because Cloud9 and G2 play against each other. I was thinking they could even go all the way down to 4th, but
as long as
that's
they win
not possible,
3, they'll
is
be
it?
fine.
Yeah, in that case, I do think they're going to be okay, because they absolutely could lose to Leviatán. Like they look like they will lose to Leviatán, but that should still be a good game, like well worth watching, and maybe they rebound. But I think they'll figure it out by the time they get to like deeper in the playoffs, London type beat. My problem is that these are the issues I was seeing when Leviatán of 2024 were having their problems.
The Aspas Lev team.
The Aspas Lev team would occasionally, like when they looked amazing coming into champs, and then they got to the final 4, and then they flopped, and they ended in 3rd, I guess. That team had the same issues, where they could just oscillate between being so in key with each other, playing so fluidly, and then some games they just looked like they were completely not on the same page, baiting each other, and it played horribly.
Yeah, there's a football video actually that I watched of a coach in a halftime locker room, a very prominent coach. TM, are you gonna have to like parse my mind? I'm gonna describe. He was talking about like he had an accent. I don't know what accent it was, but he's like, they're just more hungry. You guys are not hungry. Like it was a 5-minute like he was just railing into them, like the fans they come all from all across the world to sit in the stands. They spend their money, and you guys show them this. These guys are new players, like they're hungry. You guys are not hungry. I've seen that today. I don't know who it was. I'm not sure if it was Jose Mourinho or something, but no, it wasn't. He was a bald guy.
Yeah, it was Guardiola.
Oh, it's Guardiola.
Yeah.
Sit down. Nobody talk.
Yeah,
that's the famous Guardiola one. Yeah.
This is my thing, like, so, and also the reason I'm in the cuck chair while these guys are like glorking the entire game off is because I didn't get to watch it on Sunday, but it seems like also the most descriptive they've ever been. No other game have we ever had such descriptions.
Round by round breakdown. It's stuck in your memory.
Be like,
well,
I missed a fucking banger game, man.
It's infuriating when that happens.
But yeah, I will have to go watch this game back. But for me, by the way, just to introduce myself and my what's it called, my qualifications. Dr. Shyowager, spank theory theologist, who understands how long a team can lose, especially MIBR. But these guys against Lev seems like it might just be another loss. I'm not sure if this was also MIBR YYZ, as some people have claimed it to be. The area code for Toronto, where this team also kind of struggled and were kind of stinky. Was it that levels of like they weren't showing up, or was it just like
no, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Mistakes? So what you guys are saying, it's not. Yeah, so it's not. Okay, so right on my notes, it's not MIBR YYZ. But when it comes to loss, I think about the hunger for this team, and like we're discussing super teams right now. Even with a team like Kron and Durka on it, with like some of these players on it who are just so used to winning and being the star of their team, so good that they got yoinked from their team, put into this one like Verno was. Zekin also just like, the money was so good. Like that's one of the reasons why he's also on this team. I'm not saying it's the main reason or anything, but pulling out these little narrative threads versus the team that's like, struggling now. Your star duelist has lost his one thing that like wasn't that made him who he is. Extra now is like grabbing at straws, trying to play certain things week after week, maybe getting better. It seems like in that 5th week, that might be signs of like a loss for MIBR, because I'm not sure if they're going to be as hungry as NV and wanting to win a game. Dude, I'm looking at the hunger between these two teams.
If they lose to Lev, they are going to be desperate to win that game. Because if they lose to Envy and Lev, they've cooked it. They've absolutely bottled it.
I mean, they might not even make playoffs at that point.
That's what I'm thinking. And again, I haven't seen this matchup.
No, but they would be hungry for that win though at that point. Sure.
Oh, they'd be
okay. But then my thing after that
they'd be starving.
Is that the way this team goes then? Are they just going to be hungry for this one win after a certain amount of losses? Is that MIBR's legacy? Because like,
I don't know.
Again, if Bates Pass is coming back, if these guys are playing like, the red team, blue team go in 3 seconds faster than the red team, they're doing tenant pinches like in time. That's a problem, man. If they can only ever lock in like when they're losing hard, which has kind of been the theme for the org, like of the last stage, that's a bit of a problem. Are they going to win like back-to-back losses for qualification again if we have a kickoff-esque format? Are they going to win next split in the stage if things are going better? How far do they lock into a playoff stage where like every win matters? You always have to be hungry. That's my question for the team.
I mean, the questions, if they don't make London, people will start.
Oh, absolutely.
People will start being like, what the fuck is wrong with this team? Because
they definitely still can make London. Like
yeah. They definitely can.
The Americas teams are good, for sure.
It would not shock me at all if they... Because to me, again, I think part of this and why they were so sloppy, because it was like throughout the entire game, was because I think they thought they were going to just win. And they were like... You know, I mean, even C9 are saying that they think you're gonna win. So, like, I think they came into this one thinking they're gonna win. They will never go into that left game. I think they will turn up to that left game very motivated. And
they might still lose.
They might still lose, but if they play even close to as bad as they play against C9. We're coming back next week, and I'm putting this team in we're putting them in the next segment. Are they cooked? Yes. If they look like they did this week.
All right. Well, speed run through the rest of the fraud alert then,
because this is not a fraud alert. This is a fucking terrible take from you. But go on.
Okay. I think after the Foot game against Carmine Corp, Foot are a little bit in fraud alert right now. A little bit. Not for the same region as Vitality and MIBR, but for a team that is undefeated in EMEA, that was a rough performance. That was not them playing their best. They're up against Team Heretics next week as well. You don't want to be the team that peaks in groups and then doesn't actually like translate that into better performances.
Because their last performance wasn't good.
I'm saying they've already peaked.
Against what? Against Team Liquid or something?
Yeah, I'm saying that was the Foot peak. I think we're on a downhill from here.
Let me quickly bat this one away. Okay? Let me quickly bat this one away.
I'm here for a feature if you need it.
You two don't need to even speak on this one. It's fine. Foot's performance, I agree, against KC wasn't great. I don't care. I'll do it as tiny MV. I'm gone, MV. No, come on. So, Foot, they didn't play great. I agree. KC have beaten multiple teams on Haven. I don't think losing on Haven to KC is like that big of a disgrace. I think that their Haven is actually fine. But I agree on the other maps as well. They didn't play, great Valorant, let's say. I think Foot, the way that they described, like, going into that game, though, the way that they were talking about, like, how they were approaching that game was quite strange, in my opinion, considering that it was for first seed, which I think is quite important. Now, they obviously did end up winning it, so that's fine. But, like, for instance, on Haven, Zeus is playing Phoenix instead of Jet. He dropped 30 on Jet in the game that they previously played on Haven, by the way. So, and the coach, and, Vlad is coming out and saying, yeah, we were limit testing. We were testing stuff. True. We were trying to, see what, does this work for us? Is this good? And, for things like should we put Zeus on Phoenix or Jet? I think probably put him on Jet, given the two performances. And I think that they probably approached this game in that kind of style, thinking this is against a weaker opponent. Maybe let's try some stuff that, like isn't maybe the best. And I would say, look, from an unbiased point of view regarding Foot, I'm taking off my Foot hat right now. Yeah. This is TMV talking with no Foot.
Paid. This is not a paid opinion.
This is not a paid opinion. I would agree, like they haven't always looked convincing, even in their good games. They've had moments where I've been like, ooh, what are you doing? I think of Sop opping against Navi on Fracture, attack side opping, staring at a Viper Orb the whole round, and continuing to op and think, oh, this is a good idea. There are some times that I think this team is, still a bit naive or still doesn't have like all the right answers to certain situations, and can be caught off guard. And in other regions, I think that would be a problem. In this fraudulent EMEA region, I don't think it's as big of a problem because they can still shoot better than most teams, and I think most of their rounds are still good. So they definitely still have things to learn and get better at, but I think overall they'll be fine. And again, this Team Heretics game, this is a full free hit. It would not shock me at all if they lost this game, and again, we're just trying shit because they've already got the first seed. Like this game for them really is like, who cares? So if they come back and lose this game, don't be fucking taking a victory lap saying, "Oh, look, they're frauds," because they're playing fucking double Senti or something.
It would be playoffs. It would be playoffs where it would matter.
Yeah.
Like the thing that I'm slightly concerned about is if Foot have locked up first seed with their 4 victories already, and then they are 1 win away from making it to London. If you fail to make it to London, the alert is going off more than ever before. Like that is a huge fraud alert.
It's not an alert. It's a designation. At that point, it's a designation.
But I think it
That
depends.
is a fraud designation.
I think it depends heavily on what the bracket looks like. I don't know exactly.
Fnatic. Whatever that game
Yeah.
will be.
Cope is there. I mean, they'd have to be playing good teams. That is a designation, man. You got to win.
Most likely they
Yeah.
will play Eternal Fire,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
will be
like,
an interesting game.
yeah. If they run into like the other 2 teams that make it to London,
Well, they will because they're gonna have 2 qual games. Like they have to.
are they though? Yeah. Oh,
They'll
yeah.
definitely run into one, but in the lowers,
No,
they
no,
don't
because in the
necessarily.
lowers it might not be.
You have to win
right?
2
And-
games from the lowers if
Yeah,
they lose
so-
the first.
so
Okay,
it's
but you're
either-
saying if they face the team that if they lose to the team that loses to the team that quals, that's even worse than losing to the team that quals.
No, I agree that it's worse. My point was, if they lose to the team in the uppers, that's the best
quals?
team or
Yeah.
second best team or something, and then they drop down
And
they
play like
lose
a liquid
to
on
another
fire
great
or
team.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they lose,
end
if they
up
lose
going.
to an Eternal Fire, who end up qualifying, and then they drop
Yeah.
down and they lose to a Liquid, for example, who go on a run to qualify, and the 3 teams are Liquid, Eternal Fire, and Fnatic, then maybe you could give them a little bit of bail. But generally, I think that would be like a giga fraud.
They got to make it. They got to make it. Move on.
Yeah.
Next
Yeah.
team.
All right. Next team, I think, is looking a little bit fraudulent. I know TMV, you were on this train as well. Full sense.
I mean, this is the team. We were talking about T1. Oh, they've only played some stinkers, and then who are they? Well, this is T1 squared, full sense, because they have literally beaten the 3 shitters, and then as soon as they played a team with a pulse, they looked. Not only did they not win, but I also think they didn't look good, and they kind of got exposed. I mean, we were
agree.
watching this game, Josh, and you were like, they're just doing the same shit. And it's not working, and they just do the same shit again.
Now, I, though, have a slightly different narrative for this one, which is that I think it's quite a good loss for them. Because it wasn't them having bad ideas. It is like exactly what you just said. I think it was just them running good ideas, but over and over and over again and running it into the ground. And basically, it became too obvious what they were attempting, and RRQ figured them out and ended up recovering almost every half against them, right? Like, there was a very common pattern of Full Sense have good ideas early on in a half, then RRQ figure it out, and then RRQ come on to be able to get the win. I mean, Fracture was not that. Fracture was complete dominance for RRQ, but that felt like the majority of the rest of the game. I think that's quite good to take a loss like that early on when it doesn't matter that much. Like, you weren't competing for first seed, I don't think, anyway. Maybe you could have been, because you might have been able to beat T1, and this sticks a bit of a...
They still are, aren't they? Technically,
Are they? I thought it wasn't
because
possible
if they beat
now.
T1, they'll be both 4-1, and if RRQ lost,
Oh right, yeah, I guess they are. Okay, so maybe it does matter in terms of the group stage overall. Maybe it doesn't. If they just beat T1, then they might be in anyway. But more broadly, I think it's important when you're looking for a team like this that has a great chance of going to London, that you're learning stuff about yourself and learning about your weaknesses. And it's terrible if you get a learning moment like Vitality, where it's like, oh fuck, we are completely screwed. Our entire
learned
system
that
is
you're
bad.
fucked.
Yeah. But the learning moment for Full Sense from this game was, we have good game plans coming into the match, but Cruz and the coach actually. And in fact, we don't know too much about this coach because Cruz was previously the coach of the team, but there is not the same level of strategic adaptation throughout the match to keep them on top. They don't adjust and adapt enough. Their defensive setups, their attacking ideas, their like feel of the game in order to stay ahead of their opponent, and they allowed RRQ back into it. I think that's a good learning moment. They are not looking like an amazing team right now. I wouldn't even have them as a top 3 team in Pacific, so I guess that puts them on the outside looking in for London. But if they learn properly from this game, I think it can be a growth moment.
Okay. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
All right. Final team on fraud alert then, quickly, is Nongshim Red Force.
Okay.
Now, we thought they'd fixed it. We thought they'd
didn't watch
fixed
the
it
game.
because against the Gen G, they were just running the Phoenix the whole time. Why? I mean, they didn't go back to Breach. What's your problem with them, TMV?
What's my problem? You know what's funny about that is I actually think they messed up by moving away from Breach on one of their maps because
Oh, Jesus Christ.
the only maps that the Breach worked on, they had won 2 previous games on Fracture playing Breach. Francis Breach.
Right.
They'd beaten 2 good teams as well. They'd beaten Paper Rex and DRX on Fracture playing Breach. So clearly, like, they were at least okay at Fracture. They move away from it, put Danby on Raze, Francis on Neon, and it's shocking. It's terrible. They lose to Team Secret. I mean, that's all you need to know. To be fair, Team Secret, I think, actually did look better in this game. Apart from map 3, they were shit. But
do you think it's like a foot thing though, where like they're looking at the secret game as in like, even though we
Possible.
need the win, it's a win.
But-
Let's
but
test
I
this.
think-
They
the
really
problem-
need that win, though.
yeah, it's not like Foot where it's like they're already in playoffs and stuff. Like if they lost to Team Secret, that would be a fucking disaster. But I think the problem is when in the Gen G game, it really looked like, oh, they have found the direction and it's fine. Like they've solved it and now they'll be fine. Whereas this game, it looked like even though they're playing the same comps and even though they're playing the same 2 maps that they were against Gen G and Pearl and Breeze, especially on Breeze, it looked sloppy. It looked like if this wasn't Team Secret, if this was a, not even like a good team, but like an okay team, if this was a middle of the pack team, they, I think, probably lose this game.
Well,
like
they're going up
looked
against
sloppy.
Global next.
Yeah,
Like, Global
exactly.
are like that kind of
Yeah,
team.
that's kind of the team that, like, the kind of level. Because, like, on Breeze, there's some rounds, I think it's round 14 or something, like, where they end up winning the round. And again, they're playing against Team Secret, so this happened quite a few times. But, like, just some of the plans and decisions don't make any sense. Like, they're nonsensical round plans. And they got away with it in this game, I suppose. This is kind of, Sliggy would call this a free lesson game. You play Team Secret, you're lucky it's a free lesson. But I think there's more worries because of just like the eye test was like, oh shit, this team took a step back. Maybe because they were playing Team Secret, they thought it was free. They thought they could do whatever they wanted.
What was so bad about the Fracture?
What was so bad about the Fracture? The Danby and Francis, I think, were not like they were a bit MIBR-ish, let's say, in their duelist. Not necessarily in terms of like one of them is baiting the other or whatever, but like just in terms of not being necessarily on the same page. And I think just the way Team Secret on Fracture, to be fair, I thought actually looked pretty good. Like, don't get me wrong, like Team Secret looked like a competent Fracture team. To be fair to them, I thought they actually were much better than I think they've looked on any other map, to be honest.
Right.
But their defense sides was just like, let's give them a lot of space. And like always seeming confused. It seemed like they didn't know the protocols for the comp. Like that's the thing. They'd played Fracture with this Breach comp before, where it seemed like they had like, this is what we do if we do that. It looked like they changed this comp 5 minutes before the game, and therefore Francis is like, well, now I'm playing Neon and not Breach. So do I stay here or should I be running in? Should I be already killing them or something? It just felt like they didn't know what to do. Which again, you might say is an easy enough fix. Like, just go back to your old comp that worked and just play that. Like, they could do that, and I think that would be fine. But yeah, it was not pretty. But I think, look, they won the game.
Fraudulent though.
Are they fraudulent? To me, this was like because I was thinking after that Gen G game, oh, this team is going to start picking up again and actually go to London. I think this is fraudulent in terms of now I'm really doubting whether that is actually going to be the case. So are they full frauds? Maybe not. They're not vitality level frauds, but they deserve to be in this. Anyway, let's talk about some teams that have no chance.
Yeah.
Are they cooked?
Are they cooked?
Nice. Hey, look at that guy. He's cooking.
He is cooking. All right. Couple of teams that are, I think
Mathematically cooked.
I think they're mathematically cooked. But
Some of them.
Gen G definitely are.
Well, these first two that I'm going to
yeah.
throw at you are mathematically cooked, I think. I'm pretty sure they are.
Okay.
No, yeah, they are.
And I want to know if they're cooked long term. Like, are these teams cooked? And it's Gen G and Carmine Corp. And the reason that I've chosen these guys and not like fucking Zeta or whatever is because I feel like people had some hope for these squads at the beginning of the year. So Gen G and KC, they haven't really done anything, and now they're gone before even making playoffs, which I think is a big disaster for both of these squads. So starting with Gen G, are they cooked?
Yes, wholeheartedly, absolutely. I think the biggest issue with Gen G is that they took too long to figure out when this meta changed what worked for their team. I think this Karen Phoenix stuff, was that what it was? Yeah. Like looked really good towards some of these other weeks, but it took too long to get found out, get developed, and now we're going to be going into another stage of the game where there's a map change, there's an agent change, and Gen G, in my opinion, will be slow to adapt because they have so many moving pieces and different people that play 80 things on their roster. Like, to find a vision for these guys, you're looking through a kaleidoscope. That's the easiest way to look at Gen G. It's just everything is fragmented because there's so many things you have to account for with the roster they have with the team. And so they're cooked now, and they will be staying cooked, I feel like, for the rest of this year.
Counterpoint.
Okay.
They easily could have won that game against your favorite team, KRX. They easily could have won on Lotus, and then they wouldn't be so cooked, and they would still have a chance of making playoffs. And I think there is some positive signs for this team. Like they have shown a pulse. You know, they beat Paper Rex, for instance. You know, they easily could have beat KRX. Maybe they're just big game merchants. You know, maybe they just the bright light merchants, and when it's low stakes, they don't care, which is a problem in group stage. Maybe they would do better in next year with that format. But doing this bad, like the thing is, they've got some things to figure out. I think positive for them is, like you say, like the Karen Duelist stuff, I think worked enough to where if that is still the meta, that can work. But the good news is, if it's not the meta, like you have a player who is good on other roles as well, right? So if that ends up, you know, if all the duelists, you know, if Neon gets nerfed, and then fuck it, they nerf Phoenix as well or something, right? And you end up in a solo jet meta or whatever the fuck. We go back to 2021. Like, this team should have, you know, the tools to still be able to make that work. So I think long term they still have some chances. They are in a very tough group, right? Are you telling me that in the other group they wouldn't make playoffs? Because I think they would. Yeah,
I think that's part of the problem with it, right? Like, they are in a pretty tough group. The thing about, I'm not sure that this is like, I was having people ask me, is this the toughest group that we've ever seen, this group? And Nongshim are wobbly enough that I think there's a bit of luck involved with this kind of stuff as well. Like, Gen G ran into Global when Gen G were playing like dog and didn't understand what they were doing and hadn't figured out what was working. Yeah. But if they ran into Global as their final game, like if you swapped week 1 and week 5 for Gen G, so they ran into Team Secret on the first week, doesn't matter how bad Gen G are playing, they probably still scrape that win out, actually.
Yep.
And
then play Global coming into this week, we'd probably be like, ooh, they could win this game.
Yeah, like it would be a very winnable game, and Gen G would have a great chance of still making it to playoffs. Same thing with Nongshim. Like, if they had run into Nongshim on the week where they were playing full Breach stuff, or even on week 1, I think it's possible. Well, week 1, it wouldn't have lined up, but like...
They ran into the 1 week where they figured it out.
Yeah, it's not... But then if they played in week 1, Gen G themselves were playing badly. So there is like, it would have to be a very lucky schedule for Gen G for it to all have played out against, like, well for them. But what concerns me is, even with that cope, Gen G have not figured out enough. Like, they have something going on in the sense that they know that they want Karen to be playing Duelist on the double Duelist maps, and then Sentinel on the maps where he is playing something else. Maybe he could even swap between Duelist and Smokes if you wanted to change the roster around a little bit. But they still don't really know what the fuck they are doing with Ashe and Zinx, in my opinion. And even with, like, Ashe came in and played Duelist for them because Zinx was out with an injury. Even when he wasn't, the Ashe Omen looked like it was doing all right, actually. But it wasn't enough to be able to get them, like, great wins or get them across the line too heavily. It was just that one game against Paper Rex. I think there's a roster change on the horizon, and they need to figure out what they actually want to do with these players. Like, what works. And they have a gigantic Astra problem, by the way. Every single time they play Astra, their Astra player looks garbage. They just don't understand something about this agent at a fundamental level. Like,
they had, like, a full-time Smokes player, who's one of the best Smokes players in the world.
Yeah. I mean, they're not running they're not running him on the Astra though, are they? They're running like Ash and then recently Kite on the Astra, and they've had horrendous performances on it. But
That's a shame. If only there was someone on that roster who could play it. If only.
KC though, talk to me about KC.
No, they're just cooked. Let's move on.
Yeah,
We don't need to discuss. They're just cooked. Shyo, they're completely cooked. So much of this roster. Cooked. I mean, the one benefit might be that they need to what I just said to happen. All the duelists get nerfed, and we end up in a jet meta for them, so that Levin can actually.
So that Levin can carry.
Yeah, so they can actually carry.
But man, Aves does not look comfortable on any role anyway.
No.
Yeah, Aves needs to be their flex player, but he's not actually showing a great level of proficiency with it. It's so tragic, man. What happened to Sugetsu as well? Who taught him that the best way to play Anchor is now to try to 1v5 as the attackers are running at you?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on with him in these rounds? If Sugetsu could fucking get back to a world in which he was playing a sensible site Anchor, then they have the talent to be able to make it work. Like, if Sugetsu was playing well, DOS9 and Narrate with like all right performances from Levin and Aves would be enough to get them some wins in these games. But man,
dude, he played in an era where it was possible. Like, it was the era of basketball where like people let you shoot, wouldn't even block, the 20s of basketball, or like when boxing first came up and I put him up here, see, and now he's in the MMA where people are taking out, whoa, what is this guy on me for? Oh fuck, he's choking me out. This is possible as a side anchor? They're dashing above me. What world is this? He's in the wrong age is all it is. But okay, Casey, talk to me about 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves. Are they cooked? Can we quantify, first of all, what their position is? Are they playoffless? Okay. I feel like it's not possible because we still have 2 weeks of play.
But the context for 100 Thieves is bad.
So they are facing KRÜ Esports.
And FURIA as well. So they're playing against two teams that look better than them, and they're already 1-2. And so they're like, it's between them, NRG... Maybe like a Sentinels as well, but they lose the head-to-head against Sentinels.
That's their problem.
Well, here's the thing: they lose the head-to-heads against the best teams that are left. So they would have to have EG
wake up.
EG would have to beat NRG and KRÜ for them to have a better chance at doing whatever they want to do. Yeah, I mean,
it's a disaster for 100 Thieves.
It is over.
Yeah, like unless somehow a comp finds them. They've been hiding something for these last 2 weeks that looks better than KRÜ and FURIA. It's not happening.
I mean, just play Breeze against them. I mean, Bang can't play Harbor. They can't defend A. I mean, like
Loud. Are Loud cooked? Now, Loud have a bit of an easier group.
Here's the thing. I think of the three Americas teams that we're going to mention in this, I think Loud are the least cooked. I think 100 Thieves are done. Envy is the other one we'll come on to a second. I think their chances are very slim because they're not very good. I think Loud have shown the most, like they've shown more than, for instance, an Envy. I think that they also should be getting back their Erda, right?
Yeah, Erda should be playing this week. Yes.
So that's a chance. Now look, and they play Cloud9. Now Cloud9 were a lot better in their game this week than they had been previously. So that isn't a free win or anything like that. Even if Loud play well, like Cloud9, will probably go into that game favored now. But I do think. Loud still have a chance to win that game. Let's be real. Like, if Cloud9 regress again or whatever, have a nervous performance now that they've got, some chance of doing something, that's still a losable game for them. If Loud win that game, they've got 2 wins, they can make it to playoffs. Now, what do you mean cooked? Are they going to Masters? Fuck no. But can they use this time to get a couple wins, grow, start playing with their actual full roster? And then for stage 2, be like a
playoffs
pretty
experience
team.
Would be so good for this team. I think being able to play any matches with Erda beyond these last two.
I think for stage 2 they could be. I mean, we've seen we are in the South American era of Americas. So why not add Loud to the mix? Fuck it.
Because man, it's the same shit. I understand the whole Erda thing. Erda's not here. I get it. But the same stuff has been happening since the last stage. I'm just thinking back to being underwater with this team a little bit. And the closest games, if you look at the games, guys, I know it says 0-2, but the game quality, the player quality, it's the best. They just need this little bit of an extra push. It'll be fine. I see the vision. The vision's clearer now. And that scares me because it's the same Loud, man. It's 2 people who look like gods surrounded by mortals holding them up in the match.
But you don't. But
And
Elder
one-
might also be a third god, and when you get to 3 gods, your team is
3
more
god
gods than
cards.
mortals, and at that
Yes.
point, you'll be good.
Okay,
But we
what
don't
about
know.
what about Envy though? Because Envy have that win over Cloud9.
No,
they lost. They were the recipients of the fastest ever loss in America this
True.
week. So they got back into scrimming really quickly.
No, they had days off, Josh. That's the thing. They had
That's
that
so
one day
true,
off.
That's so true.
and went for ice cream the next day. That third day was a bank holiday. And the fourth day, the AWS servers were down. So really, they just have one day of practice.
No,
They're playing
it's-
against G2 and MIBR.
and not only are they playing against G2 and MIBR, but because of that, their Envy's best chance was that MIBR were 4-0, and that last game didn't matter for them, and so they didn't care.
Yeah.
That is not the case. Both G2 and MIBR, when they play them now, they cannot afford to lose that game.
Yeah.
So they
hungry.
have to lock in. In which
Yeah.
case, they got no shot. It's over. They're cooked.
They are cooked.
Yeah.
They are cooked. All right,
Let's go to
EMEA.
EMEA.
EMEA's actually
Oh,
got
God.
a bunch of teams though.
Why do we have more teams than
EMEA is
Speedrun.
EMEA is super open. All right, Na'Vi.
Yes,
1 and
cooked.
3.
Over.
Cooked.
Cooked.
They play against
Wait.
Carmen Corp. They play against Carmen Corp. They're 2 and 3. I actually don't understand how the rules work, so I don't even know what happens
Okay.
if they're in like. Do you actually know how EMEA rules fucking
Yes,
work?
yes. So Gentlemates are already in playoffs because of the head-to-heads that they will have. Basically, the
Okay.
only way that Na'Vi can make the playoffs, I'm fairly certain, is if Gentlemates beat Team Liquid and Heretics lose to Foot and Na'Vi beat KC. They need
And
to
that
have a
would- and
direct
then Heretics
head-to-head.
would get
And
knocked
Heretics
out?
would be out. They need a direct head-to-head with Team Heretics. I think
Gotcha.
any three-way
Gotcha.
tie, they're cooked.
Okay, so they are cooked. So they're basically cooked because that's
So they
such
need
a
all
specific
three. They need
situation.
all 3 results to go their way. Yeah, basically.
Okay, all right. So then Heretics are probably fine then as well, because if Na'Vi are mostly cooked, then Heretics are mostly fine.
Yes.
All right. So then other side, Group Omega, Vitality.
I mean, we've been through that.
Cooked.
It's fucking cooked. So
Their final
do play
game.
Pacific.
Their final game is against Pacific. Surely their chances of making playoffs are actually fairly decent, aren't they? Because like
So-
Giant X plays against Eternal Fire, they're likely to lose, and they don't have the head-to-head. So like Vitality have a direct head-to-head over
yes,
Giant X.
Like in terms of making playoffs, their chances actually are pretty decent. I mean, they're cooked long term. Their chances of making playoffs
You
are
guys think
good.
they have a chance to win this next game?
Against
After
Pacific.
what we've seen? And from what we've seen from Pacific in battle, where they actually do take
I think it's
maps
actually
off other
possible.
Bro,
teams,
if you
Pacific win.
lose to Pacific,
it's possible
disband
Pacific win.
immediately. Do
They
not
are-
play
they-
stage 1.
if this team is going to go the same record as Pacific towards the end of EMEA, they're both going to be 1 and 4. Watch. Just watch. Come
Oh,
back to
man.
this.
I think it's
Dude.
possible. I think. It's
I just said do
genuinely
not play
I think
stage
it's
1.
so possible,
I mean
man.
disband and do not play stage 2. Just simply refuse to play stage 2. Vitality should abandon Valorant if they
Yeah,
lose that game
but
against
like
Pacific.
unlike Na'Vi, you're right. Their chances of making playoffs because of who they beat and the fact they beat Giants 2-0, like their chances are actually pretty good.
So does that mean the Giants are cooked then?
Kind of.
Giants are
well, they
mega-
need to beat Eternal Fire. Who Eternal Fire are already in playoffs. I'm not sure if they can be the 4th seed or not, but like I'm not sure how much they've actually got to play in this game because they can't overtake Fnatic either. So maybe Giants still have a chance, but if assuming Eternal Fire do try, yeah, Giants might be a bit cooked because BBL are already locked in playoffs as
Yeah.
well. It is just between Vitality and Giants.
But when Eternal Fire doesn't try, it's not like they're going to be not doing like if they decide
Yeah, they're
not
still
to do their
gonna be
strats,
shooting.
they're still going
Yeah.
to be shooting, which is what
Yeah,
their team
that's the
is. So it's
problem.
like
Yeah.
worst case scenario. Yeah, I think Giants are the most cooks. Who's the next team?
That's it. I mean,
BBL?
the other. I mean, we could talk about BBL, but BBL are guaranteed to be in playoffs.
Yeah.
I guess it's just like, are they cooked for London overall?
Yes.
Forget it. Let's go. What's next?
Yeah. Take me.
All right, I want to take
me
you
to
down
Max Drama.
I want to take you down Max Drama Road. TM.
I mean, I'm excited for this story. I mean,
So
Tell me
I
this
wasn't.
Poppin story.
This wasn't originally going to be in this episode, but I got to tell you the story. I feel like all of our viewers will know this, but I'll enjoy and hopefully they'll enjoy it, experiencing you hearing it for the first time.
yeah, I'm a child on Christmas right now.
So you know how a lot of the players, they shouldn't, but they read the Reddit comments, they read the VLR forums, they watch the podcasts as well. Oh, disaster. Don't. If you're a player, turn it off. You're Chronicle and you've been listening to us talk about Vitality? Turn it off, bro. Turn it off. You're rage baiting yourself. But the VLR forums are a different level. They're deliberately rage baiting. They know that the players go there, and they're also trying to rage bait other fans as well. Definitely. So they premium concoct the best type shit. And this thread is just called Poppin space ? And a user says, kind of confused. He streams right after losing their match and has his title as crown emoji LMFAO 02 Lev crown emoji. A mistake that makes you humble is better than an achievement that makes you arrogant. Is this a way of coping? And then it says exclamation mark free Kane at the end of it, which is so fucking stupid, but whatever. So this is Poppin's stream title. Is this a way of coping, or did they throw for Kane's error? Getting your ass handed to you like that is also not funny if you're a professional. If you scroll down you'll have to scroll past this, keep scrolling, and you see Poppin's response. It's number 24, so you'll have to keep going a little bit. Here it is. Poppin response, negative 373, by the way. Brand new copypasta just dropped. Chronically online loser. You have 9,400 posts on this platform, only spreading hate. If you hate so many things in this world, at some point you must look inward. You hate yourself and the life you live. So instead of sitting in that feeling, you constantly project those feelings to the world and things around you. I know you haven't made a single notable achievement in your life, so you cannot begin to understand what it is like at the highest level of anything. Usually, if you have no understanding of something, the best way to proceed is to keep quiet. Fucking.
Oh my god, that's an amazing copypasta.
Incredible, bro. Incredible.
Why would a player put a diary entry into VLR? I don't understand. It's kind of insane. It seems like.
Because the other thing too is, I think he's getting downvoted because it's touched a nerve on some people who post on VLR. Because, I mean, I feel like he probably. This guy who posted the thread, by the way, does have 9,500. By the way, that means that yesterday he posted another 100 comments on VLR. But
which is like, by the way, there's a limit on how much you can post within a given time period. So he's coming back like frame one after like 10 minutes to post again, like timer on, cooking style.
I am laughing at the response though. Shut up, bro. Crying emoji.
Yeah.
I'm really this upset over a VLR post.
Yeah. But like, I think Poppin, I don't know, man. People don't realize
EG
that.
fan. I mean, that's rough. Getting roasted by an EG fan as well.
Yeah. If you have 9,500 posts on VLR, you are not going to reflect on your behavior because Poppin got angry at you online. Like,
no,
even
if
this
you do it more. This is exactly what you want.
Scroll up to the actual post and look at the new byline on it. If you scroll up all the way, there's a byline.
He's happy about it.
Yeah, he said, "Oh snap, the butthurt king Poppin responded back. LMFAO, what a fucking loser. Rage baited FNS and now Poppin. Who's next?"
Yeah, he's like he's collecting players to rage bait. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm not up on the Shadow Monarch fucking lore.
His name is Shadow Monarch. That's even better.
Yeah, I don't know.
So sick.
I don't know, but it's incredible. Like, the players should not be on these websites at all. And even if you do enjoy going on the websites because you enjoy seeing like what the community thinks about certain things, never click on a thread with your name on it, bro. If the thread just says Poppin ? It is never going to be filled with, wow, Poppin played so well. I actually think that he's a good player. And then all the follow-up comments are like, yeah, I actually really like him. It's never going to be that. You are just wading into premium rage bait territory. It's so bad. Anyway, the reason that I was bringing this up was because you were talking about it being difficult to understand what it's like at the top level of the game, and like, the fact that these are still pro players who are reaching the 1%, and Poppin trying to show Shadow Monarch that he doesn't know what it's like at the highest level of anything. He's never had a notable achievement in his life. Chronically online loser. Holy shit.
He's rage baited FNS before. That's got to be a top tier achievement, and it's VLR, man. Like, why? This is crazy. It's wild.
Okay, what I had actually put the Max Drama on here for, though, is that there's a report from SportSeoul.com, and there's also official comments about this from Kespa and from the Esports Federation as well. And Sheep Esports has done reporting on it too. But the Esports Nations Cup, who we were talking about last week, literally last week I had a rant about this, saying that the players should... Okay, we don't need to be highlighting the bikini line stuff on the website. It's okay, let's focus on the esports. Our producer's getting distracted.
Whoa!
I was ranting about the Esports Nations Cup. This is an article where so the way that the Esports Nations Cup has worked is they've gone over to some of the federations that work. For example, here it's Kespa, who are the big esports federation inside of Korea, and they've decided to give them they've like nominated Kespa to be the people who create the teams, and so they've delegated some responsibility to make sure that things are more like flowing within the normal way that Korea would want to make teams. Holy, so they have dropped out. Korea has fully dropped out of the Esports Nations Cup because the people running Esports Nations Cup wanted to enforce certain players on the teams. Speculation being that it would be Faker. That like because this is a massive sports washing campaign, you want the greatest players associated, or like the most famous players associated with the tournament. And so they wanted to like force them to be using certain players, and so Kespa decided that wasn't kosher, and so they've dropped out. But also the website has been updated that China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and we knew about Russia, but they've all dropped out as well, or not been included at this stage in the tournament. So you have an esports World Cup type competition without China, who are currently probably the best country in the world at this type of stuff, Korea, who've historically been the best country in the world at this kind of stuff, Russia, who have got phenomenal players, and then also Taiwan and Hong Kong. Possibly that'll end up getting resolved because, you know, normally that's a geopolitical concern as to how these kind of like, you know, China never wants you to refer to Taiwan. They always want it to be Chinese Taipei whenever it's in this kind of shit. And like, yep. So a giant fly in the ointment, but one that I welcome. A nice little fly. Happy little fly in my stinky little ointment.
And if you are someone like, you know, if you do want to see the downfall of this, essentially, in terms of it not working, then this was not really something, you were kind of coming more from the player's perspective.
Oh,
Josh,
yeah.
Like yesterday, but obviously this is like, if you want to undermine this tournament, like, countries not participating for whatever reason, really, is like...
It's huge, yeah.
It's huge. And to be honest, maybe this has come... I would like to think that Faker just has, like, the level of clout where it's like, someone from Korea has gone, they want you to play at the Esports Nations Cup, and he's like, I can't be fucking bothered. And then the whole of Korea is like, well, we're not doing it. Faker said no, so none of us are going.
Yeah, I mean, it is a moral concern from Kespa. It's just not the same moral concern that I particularly have. It's that they don't, like, you can see in this article that the concern for them really is that, like, an outside force, which is the Saudi Arabian government via, you know, the Esports Federation, is trying to tell them who to put on the team. Like, it's not a competition if you're just having that kind of stuff, like, mandated to you. So they've decided to drop out. Now, the Esports Federation has said, we are committed to still working with Korea. So that means that they're going to try to go around Kespa. But as far as I'm aware, Kespa, like, runs everything in Korea. So I don't think they're going to have much success. Or if they do have success, I think the players will be pressured not to do it by their organizations because it would be a bad look internally within Korea. So I think it's quite likely that this doesn't end up getting resolved. And who knows, maybe China won't be participating either. So yeah, I mean, might end up being a Mickey Mouse tournament, which would be, I think, great for all of us, really.
I mean, it was a Mickey Mouse tournament, and now it's a Mickey Mouse featuring Daffy Duck and Goofy's here as well type tournament, man. Like, what is the point in watching? It's just if you want cool show match shit, go watch that like NA show match where Sideshow was coaching. Top tier, like number one in production value, and like the content creators coming in. You don't need to watch this shit, to be honest. Like, nobody's in it.
Well,
nobody gives a fuck that's there, man. They're getting paid. In that show match, it was passion. There was actual fierce fire behind it, man. I'm telling you.
It's true. Now, I would suggest that Riot should just run their own.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe they don't have a $20 million lying around as a prize pool. That could be part of it.
Maybe they do.
I mean, maybe they wouldn't need 20 million.
To be honest, they could do.
I mean, yeah, but it wouldn't make sense.
Money.
The Overwatch
Print money.
The Overwatch World Cup, which was massively like the thing is, when you have a World Cup thing like this, it's more about the clout of it anyway. But the Overwatch World Cup had, I think maybe some of it was even crowdsourced because they would sell stuff and add it to the prize pool. But it had like a $2 million prize pool, the Overwatch World Cup. No, that's all time. Hold on.
I mean, if Riot really wants to print money, they have an easy way.
Oh yeah, it was like
you make a little skin,
grand.
You make just a fucking card of the fucking flag.
Yeah,
you would print money. And
you would
that's how the World Cup.
absolutely print money. Now there would be, I think, political like problems would potentially arise from that, which maybe is why they haven't bothered. Like, for example, the whole thing is rife with geopolitical problems. Like, should Russia be allowed to compete? Should Israel be allowed to compete? Should the United States be allowed to compete? There's an enormous amount of potential PR issues that you can wade in as soon as you start running these kind of events. But if you follow the guidelines of the Olympics and essentially just outsource all of that stuff, and you're just like, we're just going to do the same shit that the Olympics does. We're going to do the same thing that FIFA does. You can kind of avoid some of the responsibility there of thinking for yourself, and run a show that people would enjoy that doesn't endanger your esport. You want to know another lovely piece of drama? We were talking about this somewhat recently too. Another report coming out from KRÜ Esports, where they've collected. This one's fucking incredible. Sports Radar, who are the integrity partner of Riot Games, and we had talked about them a little bit recently on shows because they were talking about how few instances of match fixing they had found in esports compared to traditional sports, which was a good thing for us. There are two companies now. Yeah, there are two companies, one of which is more relevant, so I'll mention them. They're called Muddy Water Research. They are a company that does investigative reporting, and because they want to short companies. So they find out dirt on public companies, and then they publish that dirt and short the company, hoping that other people, once they see the dirt, will also want to sell. And therefore, they will make money by shorting the company.
That's pretty gangster, man. Holy shit.
It's pretty crazy. Now, that does mean that they've got an extremely obvious financial incentive to make Sports Radar look dodgy. However, the way that these companies normally operate, the shorts companies, is that they start by finding the dodgy. And then they dig deeper and deeper into the dodgy whilst shorting the company, right? It's not like they randomly pick down a list and they're like, today we're going to look at Sports Radar and make some shit up about them. It's like,
YouTube channel.
We knew that there was something bad happening about this company, so we're going to dig into it and we're going to really hammer them with it. So one of the massive things that's happened here is we already knew that Sports Radar, because of a Norwegian football outlet, had said that Sports Radar was associated, this is in July of last year, I think, was selling data to unregulated betting companies, essentially like illegal bookmakers. They were selling data so that they could run and operate as bookmakers, which is a terrible thing if one of the parts of your deal is to be an integrity operator. I mean, I guess you're creating the market for yourself to buy from, which is fucking wild. But what's come out in this one, which is different, is that the company that I was just talking about there, which is called something water, what are they called? Muddy Water Research. Muddy Water sent undercover investigators posing as a betting startup company to a conference in Barcelona and repeatedly and explicitly said that they were looking to target markets where online gambling was banned, like Vietnam and China. And Sports Radar was like, yeah, absolutely, we can serve everybody. In fact, we can even directly facilitate some contact with you with like a company that runs a major illegal betting stuff in China. Like, it's kind of wild. It's wild. So this company is under a lot of scrutiny currently. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that they are like wrong in terms of what they're doing with their integrity side of things. It just means that they're horrendously hypocritical as a company and also causing the problems that they are paying to solve.
Yeah.
I mean, in one sense, you might be like, well, that's just business sense, you know, create more
Sure.
problems so that you can solve more problems, so that you have more work, so that you can,
Yeah.
look good.
Yeah.
They're a fireman who starts fires.
Yeah, they are. They're exactly. They are a fireman who starts fires. But if you're talking about like ways of cleaning up sports, they might be doing more harm than they're doing good because they're creating all of these problems and they're not even fixing the problems. They're just showing you where the problems are, really. And then it's your
Fireman who
job.
starts fires. He doesn't put it out, but calls the fire.
Oh my God, it's a fire. Guys, look at the fire. Yeah. I'll help you investigate and find out where all of these fires have
How
come
this
from.
fire started, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I've noticed a pattern here. It's all of these companies that we sell data to. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Turn up at every fire scene.
Yeah. So there might not be a better option out there for Riot to partner with as an integrity partner that could actually help.
Well, it's not just Riot. They work with a lot of people.
Absolutely. But like from our perspective in esports, if you're looking to try to clean up the esports scene, you do need some company like this that has access to the data that can see if there's dodgy betting patterns and that kind of stuff. But you certainly don't want somebody like this who is directly facilitating the illegal gambling sites where most of the match fixing is happening. Horrendous.
Facts.
Horrendous. And to end on a lighter note, did you see that there was an interview with the Heretics co-founder talking about the other people that could have been on the team instead of comeback?
No. I've been living
this is
under
the
a
first
rock.
time actually. I saw it. I didn't want to fully spoil it for myself, but those names look insane.
Okay.
If I'm Heretics,
So I want to tell the people first. So there was an interview that got translated. Props to the translator too. I really appreciate that. But it was an interview that often happens in the Spanish scene where they were interviewing the co-owner of Heretics. And they were talking about losing comeback and explaining what had happened there. And it was what we thought it was, which was a VOD review where they realized that they were just completely on the wrong page, played some scrims afterwards, realized it wasn't going to work, and it fell to pieces. But they said that when they signed comeback, 3 names that you mentioned were Vekaj, Jemkin, and Kiko, but Kiko had already agreed to go to North America at that point.
so it was just Kiko was there for fun one day. What the fuck does that mean?
I guess Kiko was trying it out, but like was more committed to
well,
North
you know,
America.
like if it went amazing, maybe
Yeah.
you'd be like, oh.
What
yeah,
is we
this will work.
talking about, bro?
Well, because
That
we were
actually-
talking about Kiko being the most obvious replacement.
Yeah, but now I'm more distracted by that information. Why are you even trialing a player that is locked into going to North
Well,
America? Are you
because
going
you
to
can
plan
be you
to
can be
move to
locked
NA?
in, but you know things can always change. So
Oh, you're a little bit of a sports radar angle, I see.
things can always change.
What would Team Heretics have been cooking if they picked up Vekaj or Jemkin?
Much
Vekaj
more
would
than
have been a little strange as a mini boo replacement, no?
Yeah, well,
Jemkin
he
makes
was
more
a
sense.
Jet player as well.
Yeah,
Fnatic
yeah.
tried him on Jet, but it didn't work in the game that they tried it.
Well, the
Yeah,
idea was they probably like they go a completely different route with the comps, and like it wouldn't just be like a slot in, slot out, right? Like I think a
Vekaj is
Vekaj
pretty
rostered Heretics looks kind of insane with the flexibility of that guy.
Jemkin
Like,
would have been insane. He also wouldn't have been an import either because of the weird import rules.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been nuts.
holy,
That would have been
Yeah.
cursed as well. Jemkin on Heretics.
Jemkin on
would have-
Heretics, it would
Whoa.
be fucking crazy. Yeah, it would be crazy.
It's so weird.
Fun though.
So weird.
Well, like say it this way too, just to fully flesh into it. After a Neon nerf, would they be more fucked with comeback in the business?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, would they be? I mean, and would Vekaj and Jemkin look even better after a Neon nerf as well? Like, this is like you're losing twice type situation. Like they could have been your saviors.
Yeah.
So,
They could have got
yeah.
Jemkin. Like Jemkin would have been good.
Yeah, I
That
assume
would
so.
have been good.
I assume so. That does it for us this week then. We're all wrapped up.
Nice. Very cool.
Shia,
There's
can
one
you give us a
job
little
left,
outro?
though. Yeah, one job left, not for us, but the listeners. There's a cost to listening to the podcast, and that's like or dislike. And honestly, unfortunately, the dislike button's broken today. So you have to like the video. We're trying to get it fixed. We'll see what we can do. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you're listening on audio podcast platforms, how does our voice sound? Good? Bad? Let me know if you can comment on those. I don't know how
Leave
they
a
work.
review.
Leave a review. That's the
Holy.
word. And as Spider-Man once said when he did a backflip in Spider-Man, I think it was 1 or 2, and then he landed, and like the kids are like, "Whoa, how'd you do that?" Eat your vegetables, kids. We'll see you on the next one.